It is Saturday, October 12th, and we are here at the Goggin Ice Center in Oxford, Ohio, as the Alaska Anchorage Seawolves take on the Miami RedHawks. My name is Aiden and I'll be covering your pregame, intermission, and postgame report. Last game, Miami won against Alaska with a win 3-2. For Miami, this is their first win of the season. Miami is technically undefeated with a 1-0-2 record. Last game, they received all 3 stars of the game. The third star for the RedHawks was Raymonds van Talens. He had 2 assists. And for goal number 2, he slid a pass across the offensive zone to Nasid, who shot and tipped by Dukovac. For goal 3, he won the faceoff and passed to Hutchison, who then shot the puck and redirected by Halim. The second star of the game, Johnny Waldron. The Chupani-Ambrosio-Waldron line is the best offensive line this season. The first goal of the game, scored by Miami, was where Johnny Waldron scored the goal. It was the first goal of the game with 42 seconds remaining in the first. Waldron slap shot after a tic-tac-toeing from Ambrosio, Fillon, and Waldron. Of course, the first star had to go to Bruno Spravares, though, as he stood on his head the entire night. He stopped 25 out of 27 shots. Although Miami lost the shots on goal game by giving up 6 more shots than they shot on the opponents, 27-21, the Miami penalty kill has stepped it up as they only allowed 1 power play goal out of 7 opportunities. That is 10 shots on goal with an average of 1.25 shots on goal per penalty kill. This season, Miami has killed 13 of 14 opponents' power plays for a 92.9% acceptance rate. They also scored a shorthanded goal against Ferris State. That being said, Miami has given up a lot of penalties. 7 penalties by the RedHawks, including 2 tripping and 2 holding calls last game. Miami's power play this year is 5 of 16 for a 31.3% acceptance rate. Last year, the success rate was 13.3%. 6 RedHawks have averaged a point or better in the games they've played so far. Hutchison and Ambrosio both have 4 points with 1 goal and 3 assists. Nasid has 1 goal, 2 assists for 3 points. Talens and Chupani both have 3 assists for 3 points. And Waldron, although only having 2 points with 1 goal and 1 assist, he's only played in 2 games. For Alaska Anchorage, they did resurge in the third period by having both goals that they scored in the third. They had more shots on goal in the first and third period compared to the RedHawks. In the first period, they had 7 shots on goal compared to Miami's 2 for a +5 shots on goal differential. It was very similar in the third with a +5 shots on goal differential, but this time the Anchorage Seawolves had 12 compared to Miami's 7. Although Alaska did not win last night's game, they were really good with an extra man on ice in terms of the defense aspect. They did not let an empty net goal in that entire game. However, offensively, they were not as good as the defense, as they only scored 1 goal on the power play out of 7 opportunities. The 2 goals scored by the Seawolves were both in the third period. The first goal was scored 18 seconds in the third. Captain Connor Merritt scored from a pass from behind by Aiden Weston. Rivera was positioned a little to the left to save that shot, and it was a really good play as Weston could not see Merritt as he made the pass. For the second goal, it was a power play goal, the only power play goal scored by the Seawolves, and it was a Ryan Johnson slap shot. This slap shot was really fast, one of the fastest I have ever witnessed. There was no arc to the shot whatsoever. For the history of this matchup, Alaska and the RedHawks have faced each other only in the 80s prior to yesterday in today's series. Yesterday did mark the first win against the Seawolves in Miami's history. We will take a short break and then we will return with the pregame presentation right after this. Welcome back to the pregame show as the Alaska Anchorage Seawolves take on the Miami RedHawks. Going around the league, we have a few games that already have wrapped up as Army West Point took on number 11 seed Maine as Maine beat the Army West Point Knights 5-0. UConn faced Holy Cross and UConn prevails 4-2. RIT faced Mercyhurst and RIT won 4-2 as well. Some matchups are going on currently as Sacred Heart faces Colgate and it's tied 3-3 in the middle of the second period. Beginning of the third period for American International as they take on Ohio State. Ohio State is winning 4-2. Just wrapping up the first period for Minnesota Duluth at UMass Lowell. UMass winning 1-0. Alaska Fairbanks, the other Alaskan team in the NCAA D1, is facing on Michigan Tech. Michigan Tech is winning 2-1. The only ranked game going on currently is Boston College as they take on Michigan State. It is tied at 2 at the start of the second period. Some notable games going on for the NCHC. We have number 17 Western Michigan facing Fair State. The game starts at 7 p.m. Eastern time. Number 16 St. Cloud State is facing Benji State at 7:07. Number 13 seed Providence is taking on the number 6 North Dakota, also at 7:07. At 8, number 10 Michigan is facing the Arizona State Sun Devils. Also at 8, Northern Michigan is facing the number 12 Colorado College. And finally, at 10:30, the Omaha Mavericks are facing the Minnesota Golden Gophers. That wraps up the remaining games that are going on today. Going back to the Alaska Anchorage Miami game, some notable players to watch. Johnny Waldron, number 17, playing center, first line, 6'1", 185 pounds, junior from Botvia, Illinois. He won Miami Hockey's Dr. Philip Shriver Rookie of the Year in the 2022-2023 season. The last 2 years at Miami, he played 65 games, 18 goals, 18 assists for 36 points. He participated in the Philadelphia Flyers development camp. Last game, he led the team in shots with 5. He scored a goal on the Ambrosio Trapani line. Last year, he had 2 5-game point streaks. He's also known as an Ironman. He played in all 36 games last season. Another notable Red Hawk player to watch, Bruno Bravares, number 30, the goalie, 6 foot, 175 pounds, sophomore from Riga, Latvia. The big question surrounding him was yesterday a fluke, or is Bruno one of the best goalies Miami has seen in a while? 15 appearances last year for the Red Hawks with a 4.16 goals against average with a .866 save percentage. Last year he was 1-12-1. He played behind Winnipeg Jets draft pick Logan Neaton. Already in 2 starts, he has as many wins as last year. Against Fair State, he had 34 out of 37 saves for a 2.77 goals against average. Played an extra 5 minutes in overtime. Against Anchorage, he stopped 25 out of 27 shots for a .926 save percentage. The last notable Red Hawk to look out for, Connor Hutchinson, number 74, right defenseman, 5'11", 175 pounds, a senior from Long Island, New York. He competed at the University of Vermont and Sacred Heart. At Vermont, he participated in 6 games, recording 1 assist over 1 season. At Vermont, he was teammates with Raymonds Van Talens. And over the next 3 seasons at Sacred Heart, he played in 73 games, scoring 7 goals and 27 assists for a total of 34 points. He was also named to the Atlantic Hockey All-Academic Team each of the 3 years. In between those 2 college stints, he played for the Tri-City Storm. Coach, very similar name that you should recognize, Anthony Noreen. He used to be the coach for the Tri-City Storm. Playing for the Storm, he accumulated 14 points in 33 games. Last night, he scored Miami's 3rd goal, which was disputed between Howleen and Hutchinson. Was it tipped or not? That was the question. And Miami says Howleen scored, while NCAA says Hutchinson scored. But recently, it was confirmed that Howleen did score that goal. For the Seawolves, Max Helgeson, number 23, right wing. He's also their alternative captain. 6'1", 185 pounds, senior from Anchorage, Alaska. He was tied for first in goals last year for the team with 14. Last year, he was also second in points with 27. This year, he only has 1 point with an assist for Anchorage's first goal. Although he is a notable player to look out for tonight because he created a lot of scoring opportunities in last night's game. The other Seawolves player to look out for, Aiden Weston, number 22. He's a center, 6'1", 185 pounds, sophomore, also from Anchorage, Alaska. Last year in 29 games played, he had 7 goals, 9 assists, and 16 points. In 120 games for the NHL, Anchorage Seawolves for 2021-2022. In 120 games for the NHL, Anchorage Seawolves 2021 to 2023 had 49 goals, 72 assists, and 170 points. This year, he has 1 goal against number 1 Denver, and he had an assist for Anchorage's first goal last night. He passed it, no-look shot from behind to Merritt to score. On the top line for the Seawolves is Merritt, Weston, and the Helgeson line, and accounts for an underwhelming 5 points, but is due for improvement. We will take a short break, and we'll be right back in a few moments. Now for the keys of the game for Miami. It is to limit penalties. They give up 7 last game. But when they do commit them, they need to lock down their defense like last night. They need a similar performance from Bruno as well. For Alaska, they need to capitalize on the power play. They've been unsuccessful so far. They're only 1 for 7 on the power play. So to limit the RedHawks passing in the offensive zone is another key. And to work on the penalty kill. 2 out of 3 goals for Miami was scored on power plays. There's a little bit of importance of today's game. Well, especially with last game, because we had an 18-game winless streak that was broken. The winless streak started on January 19th, 2024, and our last win was against number 10 Western Michigan. For today's game, with a win or a tie, the RedHawks would start the season unbeaten through 4 games, which is the first time since the 2012 to 2013 season. That wraps up the pregame segment for today's game. I will be back for intermission and postgame reports. For now, my name is Aiden Stones from Red Hawk Radio signing off. So let's have a good game and go RedHawks!
Game 2 tonight from Steve Cady Arena in Oxford, Ohio. Miami looking for the sweep after picking up their first win of the season in Game 3 last night. A 3-2 decision over the Anchorage Seawolves, and these two teams meet again here on Saturday. Alaska Anchorage looking to salvage something from this road trip. Miami hoping to sweep the series. Alongside Jeff Middleton, Luke West Poley with you. And Jeff, no changes tonight in the lineup for head coach Anthony Noreen, who platooned his goaltenders last week. He's going to go with Bruno Barberis again tonight in net. And for this RedHawks team, they had good goaltending yesterday. They defended really well, especially on special teams. And speaking of those special teams, on the other side, a couple goals on the power play lifted the RedHawks to that winning effort.
Yeah, and if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I mean, Bruno Riveras was fantastic in net last night. They had a lot of contributions from up and down the lineup. They ended up changing the goal from Connor Hutchison to William Helines. He had the deflection in front, but they credit to him originally. But I mean, nonetheless, these guys, they played a good game, especially second and third period. I thought the second period they were really, really strong. First period, their start wasn't as good as it probably could have been, but nonetheless, special teams came through. Really good penalty killing, 6 for 7 on the penalty kill, really impressive. And then on the power play, obviously, they just lots of really good puck movement, which, like we said yesterday, Luke, was few and far between last year.
Absolutely. This is a Miami team that now 5 for 16, 31.3% through the early part of the year on the power play. That is phenomenal. About double where the RedHawks were at the end of the season last year, percentage-wise. We'll toss things off now to public address for the Miami lineup and our national anthem puck drop on night 2 between Miami and Alaska Anchorage coming up next on Red Hawk Radio. All set to go from Cady Arena Saturday night college hockey in the home opening weekend for Miami. Looking to build off a 3-2 win last night and hoping for the sweep against the Alaska Anchorage Seawolves. Alongside Jeff Middleton, Luke West Poley with you. Thanks so much for being with us tonight. Alaska Anchorage goes with the same uniform combo as yesterday. And again, one of the nation's best. It's the all greens for the Seawolves. green helmets with the green uniforms. They've got a seal on the front that has the Alaska Anchorage text and the Seawolf on it with some yellow accenting and white numbers on the back, green pants and green socks with yellow striping around them. Miami again, same uniform as yesterday as well. Red gloves, white helmets, and the white uniforms with red shoulders for the RedHawks. They have a red M on the front and red numbers on the back. The red pants and the double striped white socks with red accenting on the bottom. Andrew Wilkes, Stephen Reno are our referees tonight, and Eric Frank and Brian Gorkoff between the blue lines working the lines. Game 2 of this home opening weekend between Miami and Alaska Anchorage on Saturday night. Opening faceoff, John Waldron up against Porter Shackley. Puck is down. We are underway as the game is on. Here from Oxford, Miami will take it right to left and dump it into the Anchorage zone, where the RedHawks take advantage off the forecheck, and Matt Shapani is applying pressure for Miami as the puck rolls up the far wing. Shapani trying to dig it free. It flies on by him back into the neutral zone, and the RedHawks will regroup it from there. Hit applied on the RedHawks' Michael Quinn. The freshman, though, dumps it in successfully. And now Anchorage will outlet up the far side as Cabrew throws it through the middle, and that's intercepted. Miami regrouping it back. Dylan Moulton feeding ahead for Ambrosio. Moulton back into the lineup tonight after suffering an injury late in the second period yesterday. Did not play in the final period of the game last night. Potter skating it down the right wing, gets clamped hard down the wall by Max Dukovac, who feeds it forward, and Raymond Vitalins now flings it against the end wall, deep in the Anchorage zone. Potter chasing down a loose puck, far corner, and William Helene tacks him, goal scorer yesterday, as Raymond Vitalins and him play catch. Vitalins, 2 assists last night. Multi-point day for the Latvian, and he's got it behind the Anchorage net now, throwing it up the left side of the slot. That got picked off partially, but Anchorage can't clear. It's Dukovac now on the left wall. He spins it, and Dukovac will now fire it in behind, where Vitalin shovels it further to the far corner of the Anchorage end. Christoph Fillion plays it back behind the Seawolf net, back for Vitalins, and his pass up to the left point got picked off by Helgeson, who will skate it through center down the left side and chip it in. Into the Miami end, back to get it. Simonovic throws it behind him to Fillion up the far half wall. The Quinnipiac transfer taps it along, and Hampus Ryquist will feed it forward to himself and now whip it into the Anchorage end off the end wall. 1:40 gone by, opening period. And a steal away by Casper Nassen right on the blue line. He exited the zone and re-entered, touching up for an offside. We get a stoppage with 18:15 to go in the first period in a scoreless game. Same goaltending matchup as last night for Anchorage. It's Greg Arose, the sophomore from Győr, Hungary, starting his 4th game of the year, 4.39 goals against average, and .863 save percentage for a goaltender that had just 7 games under his belt headed into the season. And for Miami, it's Bruno Braveris, the sophomore from Riga, Latvia, got the win yesterday for the RedHawks. 1-0-1 record in 2 games started. 2.4 goals against average and .922 save percentage for Braveris, who's starting his first Saturday game of the season tonight after Ethan Dahlmere got the game 2 nod last weekend at Ferris State. Neutral ice draw won by Anchorage back into their own defensive zone, and a D-to-D pass finds Warner, who will send it all the way to the far side. Entering the zone, Ryan Johnson tries to throw it net front, where the RedHawks will quickly guide that back to the near side and out of the zone, courtesy of Ryan Sullivan. Now Matt Johnson racing back to it in his own end. Banks it D-to-D for Von Dam, who gets checked along the far corner, but able to get it back to Warner on the near side, who just throws it back out to center. Michael Quinn now up ahead for Fillion for the RedHawks, who gets dumped up into the Anchorage bench as he dumps it in, and the RedHawks go for changes. Seawolves with it behind their net, now skating up the near side, Warner, the freshman who did not play yesterday and just 1 game played last weekend against Denver, into the lineup for the Seawolves. A number of lineup changes tonight for head coach Matt Shasby. RedHawks get it down the far side. 4th line is on. Frankie Caragiello got a tip on it just past the center red. It won't go for icing. And some more hitting applied on the forecheck by Baser as Anchorage just throws it back Miami's way, and the RedHawks will regroup it in their own end. Down the far side, it's Shapani tipping it in for Miami as the RedHawks top unit comes back out. Approaching the 3-minute mark opening period. No shots for either team yet in the game. Ambrosio with a steal finds Waldron, a backhand feed, and Ryquist with a spin move gathers and heads in down the right side for Ambrosio with a shot from the right circle. That got tipped up into the protective netting, and we get a stoppage with 16:54 to go opening period and no score.
Yeah, much better start for these RedHawks. Much, much better. A lot quicker, a lot better passing. I mean, that third line, again, we talked to Coach Noreen last night after the game ended, and he was all about this third line of Helene, Vitalins, and Dukovac.
Face-off win and a shot from the top of the right circle by Ambrosio, deflected wide. RedHawks will roll it along the boards to the far side where Ambrosio collects the steal and finds Waldron in the far corner. Waldron muscling off two Seawolves from the puck, but now loses it, and it will be kicked out of the zone just barely by Porter Shackley. Anchorage will now take it ahead down the left side. A drag and shot delivered in by Carter McNarland, also not in the lineup yesterday. That got blocked before it got through. And Ambrosio now skating it through the traffic across the center M and dangling his way down the center of the zone. Ambrosio shoots and scores!
Wow.
Coast to coast for Colby Ambrosio. A drag and shoot from the high slot. And he snipes that bar down over the left shoulder of Gregoros. And Miami jumps in front with 16-17 to go in the first period. The Boston College transfer's second goal as a RedHawk puts Miami ahead 1-0.
And since he's come into this RedHawks program, Colby Ambrosio has been extremely impressive. You can see the skill that Anthony Noreen and his staff want to replicate up and down the lineup. What a fantastic goal. Just deked through a couple guys, fired it high to the glove side. Fantastic shot. Miami with a 1-0 lead early.
Meanwhile, Anchorage has got it back into the Miami zone and flipped a couple shots on Braveris, none too threatening, but Braveris did turn them aside, and now the RedHawks will dump it into the Anchorage end, where Max Dukovac almost had a steal upon forecheck, and now does, courtesy of Vitalins, who got tumbled. Actually, it's Helene who tripped him there. If that was a Seawolf, would have been a penalty, but it was a RedHawk. Anchorage now taking it the other way. Drop pass into a slap shot by Weston. That got broken up. And puck skitters to the near corner where it ends up rolling in front of the Miami cage. But Helene will guide that back out and just flip this down the ice. Miami going for changes. Ends up just short of icing. And the RedHawks can complete their full 5-man change. 15:25 to go first period. And Anchorage trailing Miami 1-0 now after the goal at 3:44 by Colby Ambrosio. An even strength goal unassisted for the Boston College transfer. Up the middle of the ice, Ryan Sullivan for the RedHawks, former UMass Minuteman, fires it in from the far side, and that got blocked with the shin pads by Pavel Funtik, the Slovakian freshman. Could not clear it, though, and Christoph Fillion getting pinned along the near wall, now triple teamed by Seawolves as the puck pops free up the near half wall. Sullivan arrives for support and does get the steal. He shoots wide right of the cage from the left wall. And the puck will ricochet out towards neutral ice, where Zane Dempsey will collect it there for the RedHawks as they go for changes. Dempsey hurried along a little bit, but does poke it up for Tanyan Baser, who back passes it through center. That pass got intercepted, but Anchorage will just dump it in for Connor Hutchison for Miami. Carajoello leaves it off for Tanyan Baser with speed down the left side. He dumps it in after gaining the center red, and in the near corner, it's tapped right back to him, and Tanyan Baser will swirl it in behind. Blake Messenberg poking away with the forecheck effort on Funtik, but he does outlet it up the near side. Anderson now skating it down the right wing, and he is expertly walled off by Mike Feenstra, forced to just dump that in as Feenstra went down to the ice. Puck ends up behind the RedHawk cage, and over to the far side it goes for Ryquist, who taps forward for Messenberg. Rink-wide feed off the near wall and picked up by Anderson, who steps into the Miami zone down the right wing and is hit hard. Puck ricochets up to Potter with a quick wrister. That got blocked by Ambrosio, and now the RedHawks will race after it. Shemek, though, first to it, and he will hit the brakes in front of his own net and now turn it over. John Waldron trying to tuck that through the middle. Would have been a 2-on-1 with Shapani and Ambrosio, but tipped back out to center ice. Now Waldron skating it back in on the left wing. Without much room, his pass gets intercepted, looking to go to the far point. And now dodging around to check, Cabro has his pocket picked by Shapani. Shapani threading through for John Waldron, playing it out to the near wing for Ambrosio. Swung his stick at it with one hand, but Potter arrived first and broke that play up. Ambrosio now handling it. It's poked off his stick, but right to Shapani, who plays it up left point for Michael Quinn. His wrister got blocked. Nice sprawling effort there for Anchorage by McNarland. RedHawks play it back in front, and Ambrosio with a shot for the left hash. That was wide. Now a second chance from that same spot with more traffic by Waldron. That got blocked in front, and it's fluttered out past center by Anchorage as they'll go for a change. Across the 7-minute mark opening period, RedHawks lead it by a goal after the second of the year by Colby Ambrosio. Tipped puck into the Anchorage zone, and behind the net, Vitalins forces a turnover. Raymond's Vitalins skating it down the far side, still holding on to possession. And poking it free now for Dukovac on the far wall, playing it cross point for Dempsey left side, and he fires it well wide of the net looking for a tip. Did not get one. Dukovac from the far corner, now to the near side for Vitalins, playing it up left point, a one-time cross-corner dump from there by Dempsey. Dukovac regathers in and will circle it back below the goal line for William Helene. Helene, the goal scorer yesterday, 1 of 3, finds Vitalins on the far side up to the right point for Hutchison, and now left point Dempsey leaves it off for Kasper Nasson. Nasson dances by one down the left wing boards. He'll play it off the end wall, and to Vitalins in the far corner, threw it in front, but nothing but green jerseys there as Miami caught in a partial change, and Anchorage will clear. Fillion, though, quickly back with it and will fire to the far side where Nasson will arrive first, right corner of the offensive zone for the RedHawks. And he gets pinned up in a 2-on-2 puck battle, and now 2-on-3. Anchorage will steal it away and lift it out past center. Reaching effort by Ryquist, rather, to glove that down. He did not get it, though. Very close to tipping that puck. It goes down instead for icing with 11:47 to go in the first period. Shots in favor of the RedHawks, 3-0. And Miami up on the scoreboard, 1-0.
Man, you want to talk about starting on time. These RedHawks have come out firing. Yesterday, their start was not good enough. Coach Noreen and his staff knew that, and the boys knew that as well, and they're clearly ready to play this second game of this series. This great cycling as well. Lots of work down low below the goal line. Just getting to pucks first. I think that's been the biggest thing, is they've won those puck battles and they've gotten to the pucks first that they've needed to get to, and then they started their cycle. You can see them change in the offensive zone as well, try and establish something. At the very least, they have the puck possession.
Anchorage wins the D-zone draw and clears. Miami firing it right back in. It's Rihard Simonovic on a ring that finds Fillion on the far side, playing it back near corner. Puck squirts up the wall where Simonovic is trying to hold it. Got by him and Fillion as well, who is holding his spot on the left point. RedHawks forced to chase it back into their own zone, and it's Ryquist from there, banking for Fillion. Christoph Fillion skating it down the middle of the zone, enters the Anchorage defensive end and rips a wrist shot through that got tipped by Nasson in front, trickled just wide of the cage. And now Anchorage takes it 2-on-2 the other direction. It's Johnson and Johnson, and it was Matt who delayed on the far side. And Ryan jumped in early offside with 11:06 to go in the first period. Very quick start for the men in red and white, and they're up on the scoreboard with 11:06 to go in the first. It's Miami 1 and Anchorage 0 from Cady Arena in Game 2 of the weekend set. Stay with us. You're listening to Miami Hockey on Red Hawk Radio. Opening period, 11:06 left in it. It's Miami 1 and Anchorage 0 in Game 2 of the series, with Jeff Middleton alongside Luke West Poley with you. Colby Ambrosio, second of the year, has Miami in front off a really good start by these RedHawks, much better than yesterday. But the faceoff won in the neutral zone by Anchorage and pushed it forward, looking for a shot from the top of the left circle immediately, and Matt Johnson could not pull it free. Fourth line out there for Miami, and they will now push it into Anchorage's end, where the forecheck ends up bringing the puck to Miami's right point. Michael Quinn dumps it in from there for the RedHawks, and Frankie Carajoyella will find it along the near half wall. In a puck battle, it's dug free by Ryan Johnson, and now knocked back out off the glass to center, where the RedHawks will regroup it. It's Moulton to the far side for Blake Messenberg. Or rather, Tenyon Baser, who will play it ahead for Messenberg, tipped into the Anchorage zone as the RedHawks go for a full change. Top line back out there for Miami. Pass up the near wing, got broken up by Ambrosio. Now Waldron with a step, trying to dangle his way through into the left circle. Hits the brakes, looking for Ambrosio high slot. That got tipped to the far boards by Johnson for Anchorage. Puck played back behind the Seawolf net, and Shapani is digging away at it for Miami, but Funtech pries it free and rolls it for Johnson along the far side, who just claps that puck along the glass and all the way down the ice. It will be icing with 9:59 to go in the first period as Hutchison edges out Jared White on the race. Shots have been all over the place on the scoreboard.
Yeah.
The current count is 2-1, and Miami leads it 1-0 in the game. And still not a ton of shots on goal for Miami at this point.
No.
The fortunate thing is Anchorage not a ton either, and this was the shot count Miami had at the end of the first period yesterday.
Yes. It's different, though. I mean, they just look more engaged in this first. I mean, 9:59 left in this first period. They look a lot more engaged. This first line, we saw over the course of yesterday's game, the first line was kind of hit or miss. Obviously, Johnny Waldron had that power play goal, but in terms of 5-on-5 play, the first line was kind of like, it was sometimes they were really, really good, and you could see why. You could see the skill being present, and sometimes, I mean, especially early in that third period, it was the first line that gave up that goal to the Seawolves, but this time they just look much different, much better. You can see them possessing the puck like they're supposed to.
RedHawks with an offensive zone draw win, and Ryquist wristed one in that got blocked. Anchorage clears. And now it's Mike Feenstra with it for Miami. Threads a bullet pass through center that finds Helene somehow in traffic, and he'll softly chip it into the near corner. There were Seawolves bracketing that pass all over the place, and somehow it got through. RedHawks now with it, far corner of the Anchorage zone. Dukovac for Vitalin's near wing, and now Feenstra on the left point. Handles, wrists one. That's blocked by Anderson looking for a stretch. Anchorage will fling it that way, but it's knocked down with the upper body by Hippus Ryquist. And the puck ping-ponging along through center, where Warrener settles it down and feeds it forward. Trying to leave that one off. Tanner Edwards missed his man, and the RedHawks will take it 2-on-2 the other direction, but Max Dukovac will just sweep it in. And the RedHawks will go for a change. Top line out there again. Heavy use for Anthony Noreen's top unit today.
Yep.
Pass down the near side. Missed Anderson, but Anchorage will win the race as Cabro was waiting solo on the far side. And he has it now behind the Miami net. Sashaying to the near side. Atchison now at the right point. D across, and Endwall Bank finds the puck to the front of the net, but the RedHawks track it first. Cannot clear, though, as Ambrosio turns it over on the blue line, and Anchorage will hold the zone. Cabro tried to throw one in front, and the RedHawks were there to block that attempt, and a fan on an initial clear. And the second try was good for Michael Quinn, but Atchison taking it in once again down the right side for Anchorage. Immediately back in. Ambrosio throws two hands into his back, and he goes down hard into the wall, and now the puck is tipped by Shapani, and that's considered enough for the penalty to be called. And Shemek and Ambrosio got tied up, and Shemek wasn't super pleased with, rather, Shapani, what he was doing at the end of that play. Ambrosio, though, is the one that'll sit for the penalty, and certainly two hands into the back. Probably not a hard enough hit to warrant anything more than a two. But they're going to look at it anyway, and
It's probably for the best.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
You always have to look at.
Seeing that live, it's understandable that that would be reviewed, but wasn't a tremendously hard hit, and Atchison bounced right up. But yeah, like you said, you caught it right away, Jeff. It was two hands right into the back by Colby Ambrosio, and yeah, pretty clear penalty there.
Say numbers. It was kind of like Casper Nassen's penalty. Yes, Atchison 5'11", 178. Ambrosio 5'9", 177. So it'll be interesting to see what they think here. I mean, I didn't think Ambrosio is very interested in.
He is currently up. I'm a little surprised the officials haven't pushed him back onto the bench, because he's currently standing right behind
He's shaking
Andrew
his head.
Wilk, who's looking at the monitor. And, I mean, he's almost got his hand on Wilk's back looking at the monitor that the officials are looking at right now. They take a quick look, and Ambrosio is
He's very involved in the discussion.
He's giving his opinion. You can see his mouth moving.
Yeah.
He's trying to plead his case as the officials are looking at it. But now we'll get our announcement, it looks like. And
I think if you don't give Casper Nassen a major for yesterday's hit, I honestly think that one was worse. So we'll see what the call is here. Oh, wow. Okay,
It's a 5-minute major for Boarding, so he avoids the game misconduct. He'll stay in the game, but now a Miami penalty kill that was brilliant yesterday, going 6 for 7, and as Anthony Noreen put it, with a little luck, probably could have gone 7 for 7.
Yep.
Will now be tested with a 5-minute penalty kill with 8:12 to go in the opening period. A major penalty on Colby Ambrosio for Boarding, and the RedHawks will try to preserve this 1-0 lead on the kill.
They're 1 for 1 on 5-minute major kills. Earlier in the last series against Ferris State, Brian Silver had a Boarding penalty, game misconduct in that one, but they ended up killing it off. Gave up a goal immediately after, though, so it kind of felt like it wasn't as worth it as it probably should have been, but let's see what they do here.
RedHawks did win the face-off and clear it out. Anchorage now back into the Miami end. Sullivan grabs the loose puck, throws it back down, and there go the first 30 seconds of the power play in the blink of an eye. Miami on the year, 929 in killing penalties. The only goal they've given up so far in 14 tries on the kill was that goal yesterday. And again, if you missed it, it was not a defensive breakdown as the RedHawks take another loose puck and clear it. It was a shot through maybe a little bit of traffic, but unscreened, that Bruno Braveras probably wanted back, probably could have saved it. That's the only blemish for the RedHawks. Anchorage, on the other hand, just 2 for 14 on the power play through the early part of the year. Back into the Miami zone with 1 minute gone by in the major penalty. Atchison feeds for Johnson, left circle. His shot saved with the upper body by Braveras, and he will hold on with 3:55 to go in the major to Ambrosio. 7:06 to go opening period. It's 1-0 RedHawks.
Yeah, good start. Obviously, still got a long way to go, but good start for these Miami penalty killers. Haven't really let the Seawolves get set up for anything, and it started with a big defensive zone faceoff win, and that's what you need. I mean, that's why faceoffs are important. People might view that as a lesser skill of the game, but those are any faceoff win you can get, especially on a 5-minute major penalty kill, is important.
RedHawks almost cleared, but a good job to hold for Anchorage by Warner on the left point. Now a pass, though, back up to him is not in the vicinity, and he misses it and will have to chase it back into his own end. So Anchorage has had all sorts of trouble setting up into their power play here and taking it across the line.
Oh,
Potter
no.
left it up, but Contreras with a lane to the net. Across for Cabro, a one-timer got denied by Braveras from the right circle. A broken play. Miami looked like they had that defended really well as Christoph Filion delivered a beautiful poke check on Joey Potter, but then Atchison, or rather Contreras, came flying through and turned that into a 2-on-1 chance. Anchorage now back into the Miami end, but again, a puck battle won by the RedHawks, and it's ripped down the ice by Richard Simonovics. And 2 minutes now gone by on the 5-minute major for Boarding to Colby Ambrosio. 6:08 remains opening period, and it's Miami 1 and Anchorage 0. Potter skating it out from behind his own net. The Union transfer and Philadelphia native plays it up the near side for Weston, dumping it into the near corner of the offensive zone. Again, the RedHawks will grab it and just clear it out, and you absolutely hate to dump and chase when you're on the man advantage, and this is Exhibit A of why you don't want to do that. Miami's just winning all the puck battles right now below their own goal line, and they're getting clear after clear after clear now into the back half of this major kill. Merritt will slash it in behind the Miami net. Space opening up on the near side as Helgeson tried to play it out front, but that got walled off, and now play developing the other way. A 2-on-1 for the RedHawks shorthanded. Waldron with Carjoello. Waldron handling, waiting. He lost it.
Puck was bouncing on him.
And now he'll just tug the puck into the corner and try to kill some time here. He's playing 1-on-3 and finally loses that battle. RedHawks don't get the chance through shorthanded, as you said. A little bit of rough ice there caught John Waldron with a bouncing puck, but they kill off another minute of the power play. Now Anchorage back into the RedHawk end, and a shot from the far boards was well wide. Anchorage, though, still with it. It's Weston backhanding up the wall for Shackley. Shackley has it on the hashes, right side boards. Diving effort by Messenberg to try and clear the puck. He just couldn't hold it. Shackley now dragging it through, leaving it off on the backhand. And on the far side of the ice, no attempt out front by Gukler. Anchorage will have to reset this back up to the point. Gukler from the right side. Plays it back down low for Porter Shackley. Shackley with a short pass off for Jared White. Couple of alternate captains. Shackley his first appearance of the weekend. Atchison now with a wrister from center point. That's blocked by Hutchison. And it goes up into the protective netting with 1 minute and 10 seconds to go, and the penalty to Ambrosio. 4:22 to go first period, and Miami still preserving a 1-0 lead.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate. That puck was rolling on John Waldron. Thought he might be able to settle it down, but I think he was just looking for that pass over to Carajoyello. But nonetheless, really, really good penalty killing so far for these RedHawks. Minute 10 seconds left. Obviously, a lot can happen, but so far, I mean, if you're this Miami coaching staff, you have to be pleased, especially if you're David Nyes, the penalty kill coach.
Anthony Noreen made sure to shout out both of his special teams coaches yesterday as the RedHawks again cleared off the draw, just barely over the stick of Van Dam trying to hold the right point. Under a minute left in the kill now, a major penalty to Colby Ambrosio. Van Dam dumps it in, and on the right wing gets a feed back at the right point. He'll play it off the end wall, a tipped puck that's secured by Cabreau. Cabreau shielding it off, and now will fling it up the far side where Gukler has it on the left point. Gukler pitch and catch, and now D to Van Dam on the right wing. Down low for Cabreau. He'll ring it around to the far side where it ricochets all the way back up to the point for Gukler, and now off for Contreras. Bottom of the right circle. Cabreau threw it across. Filion got his stick in the way, but not out of the zone yet with 20 seconds left on the kill. Van Dam walking. Feeds far corner. Contreras winding and shooting. Save made from a sharp angle by Braveras. Puck still loose. About 5 feet out of the blue paint. Now it pops free towards the far wall. Puck battle between Contreras and Filion. Reinforcements arrive for the Seawolves with 5 seconds left in the penalty. Van Dam skating it down the right wing offensive zone. Up for Gukler with a one-timer. Now Contreras making his way out in front. That shot got stopped. Penalty expired. Still alive in the high slot. Two shots for Contreras and a stick save by Braveras as it's pulled free now by Filion of the RedHawks on the far wall. And Simonovic has it now down the left wing. Miami out of their zone, and the kill officially over as Ambrosio drives the net left side. He shovels it back in, but now that the RedHawks collide in the left circle, it was Vitalins and Ambrosio who both actually bounced up pretty quickly, but the Anchorage defender Van Dam that was in there with them looks a little more shaken than the two RedHawks. Meanwhile, a play out in front of the Miami net got knocked away, and a shot from the left point by Warrener got deflected wide at the net front. Puck batted out of the air by Ambrosio on the center ice M, but it's Anchorage who secures it. A pass threaded through the near side, got deflected with a nifty stick by Nukovac into the seats. And that brings us to a stoppage. Successful kill for Miami. Again, that's becoming a theme for this RedHawks team. Special teams have been special for this Miami group this year. With 2:21 to go in the first period, we've reached a timeout on the ice. Our score is Miami 1 and Anchorage 0. You're listening to Miami Hockey on Red Hawk Radio. Center ice draw with 2:21 to go. Opening period, it's Miami 1 and Alaska Anchorage 0. And Colby Ambrosio's found himself all over the score sheet in this opening period. He's got the goal and most recently got dinged for a 5-minute major penalty for boarding. But the RedHawks most recently just killed it off to improve on the year to 14 for 15 on the penalty kill. And the 5-minute major kill has Miami rolling now in terms of momentum. Outside of that, 5-on-5, they've really been all over Anchorage in this first period. Stark contrast from the start yesterday. RedHawks have it in their own end. Top line is out. Michael Quinn skating across center ice, feeds Matt Schipani, who hands it down the wall for Quinn, spinning it out in front. Ambrosio was there, and now a big hit delivered behind the play by Anchorage, and Ethan Warner is going to pick up a penalty. Anchorage touched up on the far side, and Matt Schipani gives a fist bump to Michael Quinn.
Warner's not happy. He does not like this call.
It's a 2-minute roughing call, and go back and look at it now on replay, and it's a little generous, I think, to the RedHawks there.
Yeah.
Warner was kind of finishing that hit on Quinn, who had just gotten rid of the puck. And
So
the only thing I could think of is maybe kind of rubbed him out against the glass on the very end of that hit. And that's maybe what they called.
Didn't look like he was really trying to avoid, he wasn't trying to make an effort to hit him just a little bit. He kind of, like you said, Luke, he kind of rubbed him out over there. He just pushed him really hard against the wall.
So Anchorage will eventually get this after a puck battle off the draw and clear out.
Whoa.
And now a takeaway out in front of the Miami goal. Braveris gave it away, and Helgeson tried to stuff at it, and now gives a couple of whacks to the Miami goaltender, and the RedHawks do not like that one bit as Braveris holds on. Braveris was out behind his net. Helgeson took it away from him, but the Miami goaltender recovered, and Helgeson just kind of lifted it into the breadbasket of Braveris, but then gave a couple extra hacks on the end of that, and that was what the RedHawks really did not like. The game clock and penalty clock separated by 1 second. Miami's essentially going to be on the power play for the rest of this period. 1:41 left in it, 1:40 left on the penalty, and a nervy moment there for Miami. Almost gave up a shorty to tie the game.
Yeah, and Max Helgeson, he was really strong yesterday, I thought. I mean, especially on special teams, he was really, really good. Only one assist in 3 games played this year, but probably deserved a little better through their first 3 games.
25 career goals for him, is most among Anchorage forwards in his career. RedHawks back into the offensive zone, and a rink-wide feed from Waldron looking for Fillion, got tipped behind him, and now they'll stretch the ice up for Helgeson, who's in a one-on-one with Hutchison down the left wing, tried to shoot it, and it's deflected away off the poke check by Hutchison. He has been so rock solid for Miami, the transfer from Sacred Heart on the back end this season. RedHawks back with it. Shupani got a stick lifted by Cabreau, and Anchorage again will shovel this back in as there's 1 minute to play in the opening period. Waldron down the right side for Miami. Crosses the Sullivan, wraps a pass up to the near wing where Nasson holds it on the left point. Skating down the wall, Casper Nasson, draft choice of the Boston Bruins, plays up left point for Michael Quinn. Now back for Nasson on a short pass, top of the left circle, down to the corner for Sullivan.
Waldron's
and up point for Quinn. Waldron waiting on the backside of the ice in the right circle. Sullivan skating it in, leaves it out in front. Nasson tried to twist that in front, looking for a backdoor feed, but that was defended well by Shemek for Anchorage. They try to throw it down the far side, but cannot clear. Nice move by John Waldron to step on by. Now trying to play it below the goal line, and that got taken away. And again, Anchorage tries to clear, but the RedHawks hold the zone, this time courtesy of Michael Quinn. 8 seconds to play in the period meanwhile. Max Dukovac locked up in the near corner. Sullivan plays it back for Quinn, left point. Tried to drag and shoot. It was defended away off a sprawling effort by Shackley. And the horn will sound in the opening period, and the penalty expiring as well at the virtual same time. 20 minutes gone, and Miami will hold a 1-0 lead into the locker room. Overall, Jeff, you hate to take that 5. That really kind of hurts your ability if you're Miami to really get your foot on the gas through the back half of this period, as it felt like you could maybe put 1 or 2 more in the back of the net before you got to the locker room. However, Kill looked phenomenal. Again, you go on the power play, didn't really do a ton with it, not as much as what we saw yesterday, but certainly a better start than what we saw last night.
Yeah, and I mean, that's all you can ask for, really. I mean, the second and third period, that'll figure itself out. They figured itself out yesterday. They really came out flying. But this first period was the point of emphasis for Coach Noreen after the game yesterday, and for even Bruno Braveris after the game yesterday. He knew that they were slow in the first period and that they really needed to come back. And they did today. They started on time, and that's what they needed. Like you said, Luke, they probably could have had 1 or 2 more. It's kind of been this. Miami could have had 1 or 2 more at the end of a period or at the end of a period or two. But nonetheless, what you wanted out of your team is what you got, and you have all 4 lines have contributed in some form or fashion. And second 5-minute penalty kill, any blemishes, and you'll take that any day.
You certainly back in zone, says Red Hawk Radio Intermission. Stats and analysis from the opening period, and CHC National scoreboard and preview of period number 2 between Miami and Anchorage coming up after the break. After 1 on Saturday night from Cady Arena, RedHawks 1 and Seawolves from Oxford. Intermission reports after this. You're listening to Miami Hockey on Red Hawk Radio.
Colby Ambrosio received a 5-minute major for right-handed did come of it, but Miami's RedHawks' penalty kill still prevails, leading to no goal. At number 19, Minnesota State. At the end of the first period, Minnesota State Welcome back to the first intermission report. About 4.5 minutes until the end of the first intermission. Going to football, the Miami RedHawks beat out the Eastern Michigan Eagles 38-14. Chuck Martin's team has its first win for a MAC team this season. One interesting thing to know about Anthony Noreen's lineup for today. For the RedHawks, it is the exact same as last game, and it turns out to be working for them as they are winning 1-0 against the Seawolves. At Ferris State last week, there was a little bit of a mix-up in terms of where players were being moved around and stuff. So it is interesting to see how Bruno Braveris is staying in the game for both series against Ferris State and Anchorage, and especially today and yesterday, starting in goal. For Ferris State last week, Bruno Braveris and Ethan Dahlmeyer have both played one game each. That does it for the first intermission report. Again, I am your host, Aiden Sones. I will be back for the second intermission report and the post-game show.
Back here, period number 2 on deck from Cady Arena. Alongside Jeff Middleton, Luke West Poley with you as Miami leads Alaska Anchorage by a 1-0 score. Jeff mentioned it heading into intermission. Much better start for Miami. They had to go to the kill for a quarter of that period with the 5-minute major to Colby Ambrosio that really came right at a point where it seemed like the RedHawks were starting to click offensively a bit. However, Ambrosio provided the goal, and the energy was a lot better than what we saw a night ago in the first.
Yeah, and that's exactly what you're looking for, and I think the biggest thing now is just continuing that into the second period. The second period was probably their best period yesterday, so we'll see. It's kind of where the middle two lines, Filion, Sullivan, Nasson, the second line, and then Helene, Vitalins, and Dukovac kind of made their mark, and so we'll see if the first line especially can come out and do what they did in the first, because they were all around the puck, whether it was in the defensive zone. There wasn't really any kind of possession other than their own when they were on the ice. So we'll see if they can continue that trend, and if the rest of this lineup can continue doing what they're doing. And I mean, there hasn't been a line tonight, I think, Luke. I don't know if you'd agree, but it hasn't really felt like any line has been kind of caved in at any point. I mean, there were a couple times yesterday where the Seawolves had a lot of possession, but and that was, that's kind of the momentum of the game. But yeah, at this point, I'm not sure that there's been any line that's kind of stuck out as three guys or even a pair that's been out there for a lot of Anchorage chances.
Not really much to speak of offensively for Anchorage in that first period. Their best chance, to your point about not having a weak point in this Miami lineup, really came after a Bruno Breveris gaff behind the net.
Yeah.
He gave the puck away and almost allowed a shorty.
So they have 7 shots on goal, but that's all 5-minute major power play shots. So nothing really much at even strength. So we'll see how they bounce back in this second period, and we'll see how Miami responds.
RedHawks and the Whites take it left to right. Anchorage in the greens, they go right to left. In period number 2, we are underway as Miami had it dumped into the Anchorage end, but will now be forced back out, and Waldron gets tacked along the far wall as he enters the Anchorage zone, playing it out in front. Ambrosio across for Shapani, who scores. Well, they took the gloves off and shook hands. That was beautiful. It was Shapani on the tail end of the feed by Colby Ambrosio. Every member of that top forward unit's going to get a point for Miami, and 23 seconds into period number 2, the RedHawks have doubled their lead to 2-0.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what you're looking for. A fantastic play by Johnny Waldron just to not give up on it. He got kind of wiped out along the boards twice, but he found Colby Ambrosio in front. Ambrosio with another nice skill play to find Matt Chupani on the backside. His first goal as a Miami RedHawk.
Matt Chupani, the transfer from Northeastern, on the board for the first time in a Miami uniform. 3 assists in 3 games so far. He's been offensively active, but first time putting one into the back of the net, and it's 2-0 RedHawks, less than a minute in to period 2. RedHawks right back to it. Raymond's Vitalins dumps it in for Miami, and Vitalins will chase it down, but it's flung on by Zane Dempsey, who's trying to hold the left point all the way back down to the RedHawk end. Hutchison will chip it along the near wall where Von Dam holds the left point for Anchorage. Weston spins it behind the net quickly out in front. Merritt's one-timer hit the right post. Kept out of the goal, though, and Anchorage will keep the puck alive. A rink-wide feed. Missed Von Dam on the near side. And now Vitalin struggling with it behind his own net, but does outlet up the near wall for Hutchison and eventually Dukovac. RedHawks double back on it now with a little more space. Dukovac skating it down the right wing, handling, and the left-handed shot fires it deep into the Anchorage zone. It's Matt Chapani, assist to Ambrosio and Waldron. Time of the goal, 23 seconds into the third period to make it 2-0 Miami. Dumped back in by Max Helgeson to the RedHawks zone. RedHawks, though, quickly the other way, and Casper Nasson will jam it in deep in the Anchorage end. Puck poked to the far side where Matt Johnson plays it between his legs into the circle, and it's flown back out to neutral ice where Casper Nasson will pull it out and just play it rink wide for Reichquist. Nasson has it back now, or rather it's Simonovics that will play it down the far side. Sullivan tipping it just beyond the center red, deep into the Anchorage zone. Filion applying a two-handed check on Gukler, who is back on it for Anchorage defensively. And now Ryan Johnson with it and just plays it behind him. A blind pass up the near wall, and Filion with a takeaway. Filion spins it up right point for Michael Quinn. Dragging, shooting, that blocked in front. Sullivan with an attempt at it on the spin-around shot. That got stopped by a Rose, and now Quinn has it right point, playing it back for Dylan Moulton. Moulton with a full head of steam down the right side will backhand it out in front, trying to tuck it. Couldn't do so. Gets it back now on the other side of the net and plays off for Cargioello, who will wrap this one in deep. RedHawks still with it. Great forecheck by this Miami second line. And Casper Nasson now pinned along the end wall by Pavel Funtin. Redhawks do not have the numbers advantage, but Caragiuelo wins the fight and plays it up to the right point for Michael Quinn. Now a bouncing puck settled by Caragiuelo on the right side. Poked off his stick, though, just barely out of the zone by Johnson. Miami will regroup. Caragiuelo fires it in down the right side, and Tanyan Baser will chase it down just inside the hashes on the far wing. Baser got spun around, puck at his skates, and it's poked back out to neutral ice where Dempsey will circle back on it. Saucing D Hutchison plays it up the right wall where Caragiuelo spins it through the middle of the ice into the anchored zone. Nessenberg's cross-ice pass behind the intended target, and Dempsey comes out of the zone where Miami bangs it right back in and goes for a change. 16:35 to go, second period. It's 2-0 Redhawks. Forecheck finally alleviates a bit for Anchorage, who are just holding the puck behind their own net after a whole ton of pressure by pretty much a full four-line rotation from Miami over that last sequence. Deflected puck ends up in the Miami zone, and sort of a screen set as it's played out in front for Weston, or rather instead Anderson, who had the backhanded attempt for Anchorage that trickled wide. Anderson will now wrap it up left point for Shemek. D to the far side for Anderson, who banks it off the wall back in below the goal line. Behind the Miami net, it's Tanner Edwards, poked off the puck by Johnny Waldron. Now a steal away. It's played out to the high slot, but Anderson could not track it in his feet, and Chapani will take it away. He feeds Ambrosio down the right side. Didn't have a step on Shemek, who just chipped it into his own end and recovered it. And now it's White skating it diagonally across center ice. Trying to backhand it to the near side for Atchison, but that got left free. Now Ambrosio with a step down the right side. He'll drop it off for Waldron. One-time pass across looking for Chapani. It was behind him. And the Redhawks will be forced to dump it and again go for a change. Anchorage looking to stretch the ice, but Atchison struggled to handle the puck in his own end. He will pass it up the near side for Shackley. Puck lost in his skates, but he does bang it forward. We're chasing after it. It is wrapped around by McNarland. It goes, and Ethan Warner across the ice for Von Dam. Warner has it back now right point, shimmying his feet. Open stance shot is high and wide, but Braveris did not look like he saw that. Puck ends up in the near corner. It's played back up left point for Cabro. And now a one-time effort by Shackley. That's blocked in front. I believe Feenstra got it for the Redhawks. And it's Feenstra who will drag it free of that pile and play to the far side. Ryquist skating it ahead. He jabs it forward through neutral ice. And across the center red line, McNarland will leave off a short pass for Shackley, who tries to dump in, but the Redhawks will take it back. Now down the right side, Dukovac makes his way to the middle. Fired shot stop made. Rose pounces on the rebound and will hold on. Nobody really covered Dukovac there, and he just kind of slowly took the space. Ended up between the circles with a pretty good shot. And a secondary opportunity was stopped. We get a stoppage with 14:34 to go in the second period, and it's 2-0 Miami.
Yeah, lots of puck possession for the Redhawks, and I mean, that's exactly what they're looking for. If you talk to Anthony Noreen at any point, at any time, he would always talk about possession and pace as the two kind of primary factors that he wants his team to play with. And I mean, this second period has been a continuation of a first period that had a lot of the same things. So I mean, you can't ask for a better start. Now it's just a matter of getting more of those chances and converting on them, especially.
Ozone draw far side of the ice for Miami. They win it. Dylan Moulton with a wrister from the left point. Save made. Sullivan with a wide open rebound, but that got stopped as well by a Rose, who came out to wall him off. Casper Nasson now playing at it on the near side, but it got whacked on by him by Weston, and the Redhawks will regather it back in their own defensive zone. Moulton will spin it, but lost his footing, and now it's poked up the near wall by Anchorage, but Miami arrives to it first. Nasson with a nice move to get around Funtic, and it's a 2-on-1 for the Redhawks. Nasson tried to slide it across. That was broken up with a good stick by Gukler, and Anchorage will take it back after snuffing out that odd man opportunity. Merritt paws it down with the right hand and will turn around and fire it in right corner of the Miami defensive zone. Dylan Moulton back for it for the Redhawks, and it's Michael Quinn. That was taken off the puck as a between-the-legs feed came to the near side, and a shot off the side of the net by Matt Johnson. Puck deflects below the Redhawk goal line and eventually to the far side, where Michael Quinn plays it forward for Fillion. Fillion takes out the wedge and lifts it into the Anchorage end, but the Seawolves will stretch the ice, and now a seam down the left side for Contreras. Spins it out in front, a one-time shot by Johnson. Save with the left pad by Braveris, and he hangs on with 13:23 to go in period number 2. Still 2-0 Redhawks, and an offensive zone draw coming up for the Seawolves on the left wing.
And look, this is exactly what you're looking for. The Redhawks offense is going to get their chances, and at this point the Seawolves have gotten more chances than it feels like they got on that entire 5-minute power play. But that's going to happen. They're going to get those chances, and that's when you need your goaltender, Bruveris, to step up, and he has so far. Obviously, he can't do anything about a shot that hits the post, but when he's needed to make saves, he has so far in this game and so far in this series, and he's been one of Miami's, if not Miami's, biggest performer.
End-over-end flyer down to the far side of the ice. It's pulled away from the front of the Anchorage net by Shemek, but he coughs it up right on the blue line, and Caragiello will now dive, and Wackinens will cover it as Baser was streaking down a Superman dive from Caragiello wasn't enough to get it to him. Miami up a pair, and they'll bring the top line back onto the ice for a right-wing offensive zone faceoff.
It's good to see Frankie last year. Just a really tough season. Injury kept him out the majority of the year, and I mean, you know how valuable his speed and his tenacity are, and so it's good to see him not only back on this roster, but also being utilized by Anthony Noreen.
Anchorage wins the faceoff and plays it back out to center. Yeah, was one of Miami's better players through a couple weekends last year before he suffered that injury. Zambrosio plays it to the far side, and RedHawks tried to tuck it back to the near wing, but Simonovic couldn't get it on by. And that injury to Caragiello, you were hearing at the time it was pretty serious and would likely take him out for most of, if not all of the year. He ended up not returning for the rest of the season. And you were wondering if you're Miami, had heard from some people that was potentially career-threatening for Frankie Caragiello. Puck deflects up at neutral ice into the Miami bench, and now we get some extracurriculars. Look out. So some pushing and shoving. But yeah, Caragiello didn't know if he was going to play D1 hockey ever again, and that was just going to be unfortunate for a guy that really looked like he turned a corner in the first couple weeks of last year and then never got to see it come to fruition. Not only is he back, but it's that style we got used to seeing him play back into his game this season, that very tenacious, high-speed, high-forecheck, gritty type work from Frankie Caragiello, and the RedHawks are certainly glad to have him back. We've reached a timeout on the ice. We'll step aside with 12:29 to go in the second period. It's Miami 2 and Anchorage nothing. You're listening to Miami Hockey on Red Hawk Radio. We're back in a moment. Here at Cady Arena alongside Jeff Middleton, Luke West Poley with you with 12:29 to go in the middle period. It's Miami 2 and Anchorage nothing. Neutral ice draw coming up on the far side of the ice after the puck deflected into the Red Hawk bench. Matt Schipani's first goal as a Red Hawk. The Northeastern transfer, a backdoor tuck, lifted Miami to a 2-goal advantage early on in this second period. Miami has scored a couple of goals this weekend inside the first minute of the period. John Waldron trying to dance through some traffic there out of the face-off, but could not get free at the net front for the Anchorage end. Puck eventually comes down to the Miami end, and on the dump it, Rivera's forced to cover up, and so Seawolves got a little close to the blue paint there, and not much to Hampus Reinquist's liking. But with 12:14 to go in the second period, we get a stoppage. Miami with a 10-9 shots advantage. They lead on the scoreboard 2-0. In the second line coming out for the RedHawks, the D pair is Moulton and Quinn. And it's Vitalins, Aline, and Dukovac for Miami.
Yeah, Ben Anderson's the one that's been kind of stirring the pot for these Seawolves. Got a little too close there, like you said, with Rivera. He was the one that gave Richard Simonovic a little bit of a shove at the end of the play there. Had to be separated. Referee Andrew Wilk came over and was adamant that he should return to the bench, otherwise he was going to get a penalty. But that's what this fourth line does. It's what they did last night. They're not out there any longer, but I mean, they're going to stir the pot. They're going to try and get in the heads of these. They're going to try and force the RedHawks to take a penalty.
Anchorage wins the draw and will ring it around the glass to the far side. Rister from the right point by Potterwell Wine. Now a second try from the left wall, and Shackley's efforts got sticked aside by Barberis. It's tapped softly, barely out of the zone for Miami, where Anchorage will put it right back in, and Quinn racing back after it for the RedHawks. Michael Quinn up the near side for Vitalins, and his pass got taken away. A turnaround shot by Cabreau. That got stopped by Braveris, and now another spin-around try by McNarland, and that was blocked down the left side. Dukovac finds Vitalins now streaking the other way. He looked for Helene on the back door, but he fanned on that one. Pass might have been a little off the ice there, and Helene couldn't connect with it. Anchorage dumps it back into the Miami end. And Vitalins again coughing the puck up on the near corner. Anchorage will push it to the far side where Hutchison recovers for Miami. Up the far wall, he cannot clear. Anchorage holds the zone and goes for a partial change as puck rounds to the near side, and Fillion finally able to outlet to center. On the left side, Merritt will rip it in, and Sullivan giving chase for Miami will chip it behind his back up the left side boards and out of the zone. Anchorage will dump it once again, then right back in Miami's end. 10:53 to go, second period. And the RedHawks lead it by a score of 2-0. Nassim with a backhand feed for Sullivan, straight down the middle of the ice. Now he steps right, enters the zone. Fillion's a step ahead. He's offside. 10:44 to go, second period. Neutral zone faceoff coming up on the right side for Miami. Too many of them this week for both teams, I'm sure.
But I mean, when you look at this second period, obviously Miami starts with a quick goal, and that's what you need, especially against the Anchorage team. That, you know, it's not the they're not the best. They're 0-3-0 in the season. Played Denver twice. They're not Denver or North Dakota, but they're still a very good team. They're still a team that can threaten you. But you can tell in the second period they've really tried to give more. That's a big shot there by the big defenseman Fonte. He's 6'7". Good save by Braveris. But like I said, I mean, they're going to get their chances, and they have this period. They can definitely see an improvement in their play from this period to the last.
Dizo draw coming up for the RedHawks on the right wing with 10:34 to go in the second period. Still leading at 2-0. Anchorage a little sneaky there. Ran the icing play off the end wall that they would have had beat out for probably a free chance on the doorstep, but Braveris sticked it aside, and then Funtic had the big drive from the left point.
It's a big drive from a big man, 6'7", 217 pounds.
Just a freshman.
I can't imagine being that tall. On skates as well. I mean, that's 6'9" on skates around there. It's unbelievable. Dano Chara's size.
Plays it in deep for the Miami end, where the RedHawks top line will look to get it out and cannot do so. Rister for the right point, stop made by Braveris. And now on the left side, Merritt with a beautiful doorstep chance, and he was turned aside. Big save, Bruno Braveris. 13 of them now on the game, and the RedHawks will clear as it's iced down the near side by Simonovics, and it'll be beat out by Gukler. Face-off coming back down to the Miami end. It was a harmless wrister, and the reason why that chance even developed in the first place was probably because of a Braveris mistake that he couldn't control the first rebound, but then the puck was just whacked from the far side of the ice to the back door, and the Anchorage captain, Connor Merritt, had a huge opportunity from the doorstep, and Braveris stoned him. 10:04 to go, second period. Offensive zone draw on the right wing for Anchorage. They lose it. Simonovics tracks it on the far half wall, but he is pasted along the boards pretty quickly, and it's Anchorage who pulls it free. Pass to the net front was broken up, and Ryquist will play it forward for Miami. His outlet too far in front of Shapani, and that will allow Anchorage to take possession momentarily, but the RedHawks now have it right back after the dump-in effort. Simonovic skates it to the far side. Saucer pass knocked out of the air by Ambrosio right at the blue line. Two RedHawks in, though, before the puck as it slowed down right before it entered. Miami touches up offside with 9:37 to go in the second period. Still leading 2-0. Shots starting to pick up a little bit after we did not see a ton of them in the first period. It was just 7 of 4 in favor of Anchorage, and 6 aside now, just halfway through period number 2. Neutral zone faceoff is controlled by the RedHawks, and Dempsey has it on the far side. Well, he'll rim it around the glass, and Baser will leave it off at the right point for Feenstra. Feenstra waits and finds Baser again on the half wall. He'll shovel it in deep where Messenberg plays it behind his back, and Carajoello could not work his way off the hounding defender Ryan Johnson. He allows for an Anchorage clear. Now Matt Johnson trying to bat a puck through that did not get by Miami's defense. RedHawks take it the other way, 2-on-2 down the right wing. Messenberg spins it around, tried to throw it in front and hit it off his skate. Deflects behind the Anchorage net, where it's pulled out by Warner off the end wall. Warner toe drags and flips it up the far glass and out. And the RedHawks will pull back on it, where Mike Feenstra feeds forward for Tanyan Baser, who dumps in. RedHawks go for a four-man change. Messenberg applying some forecheck, and now the rest of the troops out as Miami steals it away in the high slot. It's Helene into the right circle. Helene driving the net on the backhand, throws one on from a sharp angle. Pad save made by Arose. On for his own rebound. Helene will play it back up to the point where Mike Feenstra's shot got blocked. Now Johnson finds the loose puck just past the center red and slaps it in. Raymond Vitalins is on it for Miami, and he gets checked and spun off the puck by Edwards, but plenty of reinforcements arrive for the RedHawks. Zane Dempsey had it for a moment. Now it's taken away by Edwards. He spins it in front of the Miami cage. That split everybody, though, between the wickets of the Anchorage defense. Atchison will pull it back in the neutral zone. RedHawks force it to a puck battle in the near wall. It's Dukovac working on Shemek, and the puck flies free for Vitalin, center of the ice. He dumps off for Helene, who will chip it softly into the zone as the RedHawks go for changes. 8 minutes to play, second period. It's 2-0 Miami in the final game of this two-game set. Filion takes it into the Anchorage end on the right wing, and he got hit in an awkward position, and Filion is hurt. And we got a penalty coming up. It looks like Shemek's going to get called here for the trip. So Filion went down at kind of an awkward angle there because of where he was hit. The hit kind of got all of the lower body and none of the upper body. And in the eyes of referee Stephen Renaud, that was enough to warrant a tripping penalty, and Miami will head to the man advantage for the second time in this game, leading 2-0 with 7:48 to go in the second period. It's a 2-minute minor for tripping on Shemek.
See what this Miami power play can do. Obviously, again, a successful day yesterday. And with this, considering how Chupani, Ambrosio, and Waldron have played today, it'll be interesting to see how they can connect on this 5-on-4 advantage.
Anchorage will clear off the face-off. Miami 0 for 1 so far tonight on the power play. They were 2 for 5 yesterday, and the top unit out there for the RedHawks, although Ambrosio cannot get it down the wall. It was sealed away and cleared down the ice by Merritt. Forecheck brought in by Helgeson. He's by himself, but the RedHawks will get it free, and it's Ambrosio taking it down the right side and into the Anchorage end. Ambrosio already with a goal tonight, plays it for Filion on the far side, and now Waldron a pass through the slot that got deflected up in the air, and Ambrosio and Hutchison now will play catch with the puck. Hutchison now has it center point, finding Ambrosio, top of the right circle, back for Hutchison up top. Ambrosio right dot down low. Filion trying to drive the front of the net. He was shoved out. And Gukler will clear it away for Anchorage. Ambrosio across the ice, feeds a between the legs pass to Filion down the left side. He left it to nobody, and it'll be picked up by Porter Shackley. He'll skate it down the right side of the backhand, lose it for a moment, but Helgeson there with him, and he'll grab it and fire it in. 50 seconds remaining on the penalty.
Ambrosio was not happy. He went back to the bench and slammed his stick super hard. You could hear it from all the way up here.
RedHawks second unit now out there for the rest of this power play with 6:26 to go in the middle period. Sullivan down the right side enters the zone for Miami, handing back off for Quinn, who will walk the line in the blue. Vitalins from the right circle fires high and wide, and that'll ricochet off the glass and down the ice, and Anthony Noreen is not happy on the Miami bench. He's barking at his guys as they head back down the ice to go get the puck. It's Michael Quinn who will take it out of the RedHawks zone and head right, giving for Sullivan, who will rim it around the bottom of the boards. And picked up there by Casper Nassen. Backhand feed back for Sullivan on the near side, and now Michael Quinn center point. Off for Vitalins with 3 left on the power play. Far side, a one-timer by Nassen. He scores. Another quick developing low to high play for Miami. It's a power play goal for Casper Nassen. The freshman has his second as a RedHawk. And with 5:48 to go in the second period, it's 3-0 Miami.
Nassen's second as a RedHawk, and Nassen's second in that same fashion. A power play goal, one time from the left side. He's got a rocket of a one-timer. Talked about it a little bit yesterday. And there he is showing off the muscle. What a shot. Great low to high pass by Raymond Vitalins as well. Another assist to his tally. Are we going to get a goaltender change?
We are. So for the first time this year, it will not be Gregor Rose in the Anchorage net. So plug is pulled by Matt Shasby, and on will come Tyler Kritsov, the freshman from Santa Clarita, California, that will make his first career appearance collegiately. Goaltender change for Anchorage with just under 6 to play in the second. Trying to look for a late spark to avoid the sweep this weekend. We're back underway as Simonovic turns it over for Miami, right point of their own defensive zone. It was held by Potter, who plays it in deep, and now Atchison has it left point. Lane to work down. He fires. That's sticked aside easily by Braveris, who directs it into the right corner. RedHawks pull it free, and it's Tanyan Baser handing off for Carajuelo. Back for Baser through center, and Carajuelo will shovel it off the glass and in to the Anchorage end, where Baser gives off a shove to Dylan Contreras, who spins off him. Down the left side, it's Johnson, who will chip it in for Anchorage. Simonovic behind the Miami net will leave off for Mike Feenstra. Feenstra skating to the far side for Simonovic, and now Ambrosio through center. 2-on-2 up ahead for Miami. Ambrosio waiting, finding Waldron out in front. Plays it to the backside. Shapani scores!
Wow, what a play.
You could tell Ambrosio was waiting for that odd man rush to develop, and it's Shapani with his second of the night to put Miami up by 4 with 4:50 to go in the second.
I mean, you want to talk about a quick developing play. There it is. That first line, again, just strikes with their skill. I mean, awareness from Colby Ambrosio. He takes it on a 2-on-1 initially with Matt Chupani, but Chupani has a guy draped all over him. Ambrosio waits, holds, finds Waldron, and Waldron with a really smart play to find Chupani, who snuck behind the defender, kind of backed his way out of the face-off circle, and just ripped that one home.
So Miami's first goal in that sequence at 14-12 was Nasson from Vitalins and Quinn, and the most recent goal was Shapani from Waldron and Ambrosio at 15-10. RedHawks right back to it, played it out in front. Helene was all alone, but the pass didn't quite get to him as Edwards skates it down the left side. Edwards got tripped up, but we will play on as the RedHawks play it to the far side. It's 4-0 Miami with 4:23 to go in the second period. And now Feenstra chasing back on it for the RedHawks. And he'll play it up for William Helene. Helene stretching the ice to Sullivan, and now Lane down the right side, 2-on-1. Sullivan drags and shoots off the right post. Sullivan now playing it back out in front where Dempsey lost control of it, and he will haul Cabreau down. That'll be a penalty coming up on the RedHawks and Dempsey. McNarland plays it in deep, and Miami will touch up. Fillion to it. And the RedHawks will go to the kill. Miami almost made it 3 goals in the span of about a minute and a half. That would have put them up 5-0 instead. RedHawks will settle for 4, and they'll go back to the kill. But what a past couple of minutes it's been. Shapani with the goal for Miami, and Kasper Nasson with his second as a RedHawk. And with 3:57 to go in the second period, it's now Miami 4 and Anchorage 0. We'll take a quick break. More on the way when we come back. .357 to go, second period, and Miami has opened this game up RedHawks 4, Seawolves nothing. Almost made it 5 just moments ago. Ryan Sullivan hit the post with a shot, and immediately after, RedHawks took a penalty, unfortunately, so they'll go to the kill with just under 4 minutes to play in the second. It's Zane Dempsey, 2 minutes for tripping at 16:04 of the middle period. Off the face-off, the puck is just stuck along the Zamboni doors and now finally pulled free. It was juggled with for a moment by Atchison. Miami almost sprung that for an odd man rush taken the other way. Now the RedHawks will clear as Fillion two-hands it out. Minute and a half left of the Dempsey penalty, and it's Helgeson down the left side finding Merritt. His shot for the left circle glove save by Braveris. He freezes it with a minute 25 to go in the Dempsey penalty and 3:21 left in the second period. RedHawks up 4-0. Second start in a row for Bruno Braveris after he was platooned last weekend and looked sharp yesterday, looked sharp again today. He's got 15 saves.
And look, it's really interesting. Like, usually you'd say taking a penalty is going to kill the momentum, but considering how good this Miami penalty kill has been, I mean, you never really know. I mean, that's 5-minute penalty kill as that one's in front. What a save.
Braveris came sprawling out at the rebound. Looked like he dropped his stick and caught the puck with his blocker hand. And he'll hold on to it.
Sorry I took that one away from you, Luke.
You're good. 1:13 to go in the Dempsey penalty. We get a stoppage.
Yeah, like I was saying, I mean, considering how good Bruno Braveris is playing as well, I mean, this Miami penalty kill is giving the RedHawks momentum, and that 5-minute major kill gave them a lot of momentum, and I think that's really helped them take this 4-0 lead.
Face-off won by the Seawolves, but past their defense. Again, Anchorage only lines up one man on the blue line on the power play, and we've seen a couple of those face-offs just go past that guy. On this line, it's Atchison. And so Anchorage will be forced to make their way back into Miami's end. They lose some time with under a minute left on the penalty now to Dempsey. Ryan Johnson, a goal yesterday, skates it in the left circle, chops it on, saved by Braveris. Puck still alive, and now it's lifted into the Anchorage bench. And another whistle with 46 seconds left to go in the penalty, and 2:43 to go in the second. Miami will put on 4 fresh legs for the tail end of this penalty kill, leading it 4-0.
Yeah, that's a really good tie-up from Connor Hutchison in front. Bruno Braveris gets his pad on it, but it just kind of sits in front of the crease. Hutchison ties his man up and then ends up clearing it into the Alaska Anchorage bench. So a play that will likely go unnoticed, but something that, I mean, Hutchison has been fantastic on both ends of the ice so far for the RedHawks.
Miami won the draw, just slapped it to the far side. It hit off the hand of Davis Gukler and into the bench. And so we get 4 seconds off the clock and a stoppage. Miami's actually going to change their forward here as Frankie Carajoello will come off and Blake Messenberg will come on. This is a face-off change made by Anthony Noreen to bring on one of their better draw guys. And Messenberg did win it, but Anchorage got to it first and wraps it to the near side. Contreras holding the zone on the left point, skates it all the way across the ice. And now it's Johnson up top to the point. Warner catching with Gukler. Warner, left seam, fires. That's blocked by Baser, who gets some stick taps, and now a pass up to the right point. Gukler couldn't handle it. It's past him and down the ice with 15 to go in the kill. Anchorage 0 for 1 on the power play tonight. This is their second chance. They've got just 10 seconds left in it with 2:05 to go in the period. Contreras banks it off the near wall, and the speedy Contreras will make his way in on it, but Miami will clear to the far side. And now Christoph Fillion in a puck battle will poke it free as Dempsey's out of the box. And the RedHawks kill it off, back to full strength with 1:50 to go in the period. Casper Nasson with a takeaway and pushes it up ahead. Anchorage, though, steals it back from him, and Contreras will flick it to the far side. Past the attempt, though, of Cabreau. Miami will pull back on it. Quinn up the near wing. Nasson tips it on for Sullivan, who will dump it into the Anchorage end down the right wing. 90 seconds left to play in the period, with Miami leading it 4-0. And 2 for 2 on the kill tonight, one of them being the 5-minute major earlier in the first period to Colby Ambrosio. And now a puck battle, and the arm is up of the referee. It looks like Miami's going to go back to the power play here as it's touched up by Ethan Warner. And we get a cross-checking call on Anchorage. And it will be against Ben Anderson. The sophomore from Crystal, Minnesota will sit for 2 minutes for cross-checking, and Miami with 74 seconds left in the second, will get their third chance on the man advantage tonight.
Yeah, and mentioned him earlier as a guy that's going to be a pest and try to get the RedHawks to draw or to take a penalty, and instead it's the other way around, cross-checking penalty. And again, here comes this big unit. Waldron, Chupani, Filion, Ambrosio, and Hutchison.
4 forwards and a defenseman out there, and a guy in Hutchison that we saw yesterday can get on the score sheet. Miami scored on a tip shot. Puck was dropped, but we get a false start, looks like on Anchorage, and so the center Max Helgeson will be tossed from the draw, and Connor Merritt will take it. Miami leading at 4-0. Looking for their first, though, power play goal of the night after they scored 2 yesterday. Anchorage wins the draw, and up the far side it'll go for Helgeson, who skates it out to center. And Helgeson will at least skate it into the Miami zone before the RedHawks pick his pocket. Pass up ahead, did not find Filion cleanly, and Anchorage can now pull this back and kill some time as we're under a minute left to play in the period. Merritt skating it down the left wing with a break to the net, tried to throw it across, and a sprawling block made by Hutchison. RedHawks take it back 2-on-2 the other direction. Chupani, nice move with the toe drag, and now wraps it in for Waldron. Cross-ice feed over the stick of Christoph Filion, top of the left circle. Now he plays it top of the slot for Waldron, and his shot from there off a skate and into the netting. With 32.8 left to go in the period. 1:19 left on the minor penalty to Ben Anderson. The second unit will come out for the RedHawks trying to add to this 4-0 lead.
Yeah, and the good news is that they'll have the power play heading into the third period. So you don't need to score here. You'll still end up with the man advantage, but try and take advantage while you can, while you're hot. 32.8 seconds left. Plenty of time to set something up if they can win the face-off, but there's a false start on... Not sure if it was the linesman.
It was the near side wings that are being talked to. It was Gukler for Anchorage and Vitalins for Miami. Faceoff has won that direction and poked behind the Anchorage net where Max Dukovac has it for the RedHawks. Dukovac pinned against the wall by Funtic with 23 seconds left to go. And the puck is freed up for Kasper Nassin, who flutters it up the left side. Quinn will hold the zone back for Nassin, who plays it into the corner for Dukovac. Vitalins was breaking but didn't find the puck. Dukovac now finds Vitalins from the right circle. His one-timer knuckles wide. And now Nassin will backhand it deep into the Anchorage zone, trying to play it up for Sullivan. It's taken back behind the Anchorage net with 3 seconds to go in the period. Vitalins throws it, sharp angle whack from Sullivan.
Oh.
And that flies high in the air
Vitalins
and wide. And yeah, Vitalins is hurt as he heads off the ice a little gingerly. The period has come to an end.
See what happened. I'm not sure. But looked like it was his leg. He was kind of hobbling his way off. He came into contact with a Seawolves defender over on the right side. The deep part of the zone, so that, I guess that would be why. But luckily, nothing serious.
So we'll check on that as the situation progresses into the third. But through 40 minutes, it's been all Miami on Saturday night as they lead it 4-0 after 2 periods and will carry 46 seconds of power play time into the third, looking for their first man advantage tally of the night. We'll take a break. Aiden Soames has a second intermission report coming up when we come back. Again, at the second intermission, here 4 and Anchorage 0 on Saturday night. Stay with us. You're listening to Miami Hockey on Red Hawk Radio.
watching reports. If you are a Red Hawk fan, you cannot be disappointed. 4-0 in terms of the Red Hawks outscoring the Seawolves. And what a period. You know, there were 3 goals scored in this period, which was a lot, especially if you are a fan of that first line. There were 2 goals by Matt Trapani, assisted by Colby Ambrosio. Some action. Casper Nassen to Raymond Vitalins and Michael Quinn. That unit also scored a goal for the Red Hawks. And overall, it was just a great period for the team. I really want to point out goals 3 and 4, as I think those were the goals that were the most beautiful out of the Red Hawks goals this game. Goal 3 was a slap shot by Nason with 3 seconds left on the power play. And it was perfect timing too, because this is when we get the tired defenders, the tired power play out there, and that really boosted the morale of this team. Goal 4 was probably my favorite goal this season by the Red Hawks. Colby Ambrosio passes to Johnny Waldron right in front of the net. And Johnny Waldron is moving towards the left side of the goalie, Tyler Kriskov. Then what Waldron does is he passes to Trapani, who then scores. We will take a short break and we'll be right back. Welcome back after the short minutes as Ryan Sullivan had a one-on-one with the goalie. Hit the top right corner of the crossbar, which would have been a spectacular 10 centimeters down left into the goal. And we cannot go without this period without talking about our goalie, our savior, Bruno Bruveres. He was standing on his head again this quarter, or this period rather. And he saved saved 18 shots in total this game, but in the second period alone, he's saved 11 shots on goal. Going around the league.
In a new system, but in a continued environment, to stay the same and really kind of get that underlying stuff to come out and kind of show itself. Lots of creativity being shown, which is it's a lot of fun for people in attendance. It's a lot of fun for us watching it. I mean, a lot of last year is not a lot of fun to watch, to be quite honest with you, but now it's a lot of great passing. I mean, it's just creativity and all of the stuff that Miami fans have been wanting to see back in the program for a long time. And now we've got one more 20-minute segment of hockey left, and we're going to see how much they can add to this lead.
RedHawks in the white uniforms. Miami goes right to left. Anchorage is in the greens. They go left to right. Miami's got 46 seconds of carryover power play on the minor penalty to Ben Anderson. And it's the first power play unit that starts things off with a face-off win to open this third. Colby Ambrosio skates it down the right side, finds a wide-open John Waldron with a shot off the crossbar right at the beginning of this third period. It's up into the protective netting as Johnny Waldron, the only member of that line tonight that hasn't scored yet, hit the pipe. And with 13 seconds to go, 13 seconds in rather, to this third period, we get a stoppage.
Yeah, and once again, I mean, these three just come out hot. They were, like we said earlier, a little bit hit or miss yesterday. Still showed some really good things. But, man, they've just come out every single time, every single period they've come out hot looking for a goal, whether they've converted or something like a crossbar.
RedHawks will take it down the left side. It's Christoph Fillion saucing it on for Matt Chapani, who will hit the brakes as he runs into the goal line and give up left point for Hutchison. Saucer feed to the far side, and it's Ambrosio that will handle it in deep for Fillion. Tapping it along, he was looking for Waldron. That was broken up and now poked behind the Anchorage net. Chapani will pursue it for Miami, and he will stuff the clearing attempt as Anchorage does kill off the penalty, and Anderson back out of the box with the Seawolves back to full strength. We play 5-on-5. Puck comes free for Johnny Waldron. He puts it up center point for Michael Quinn, and his attempt to push it back into the zone was thwarted. Helgeson back out towards center for Anderson out of the box. He got cleanly stripped by Fillion, and Hutchison will take it from him and try to flutter it ahead, although that got kicked out. Shackley taking it into the Miami end. His shot from the top of the zone got blocked, and now a second drive for the left side boards is sticked aside by Braveris. Minute 17 into this third period. Miami up 4 goals on Anchorage despite a shot advantage of 19-13 for the Seawolves. Puck in the far corner, Anchorage offensive zone. And now skating it to the near wing, Cabreau circles the entire zone, taking a tour of it down to the far side. One shot in from the point, and now a second try from Shackley, and 2 saves by Braveris. Miami will clear this down the ice, and it will go for icing with 18-18 to go in the third. And the RedHawks will have a D-zone draw on some very, very tired bodies coming out, and Raymond's Vitallins.
I don't know if that was icing. I thought the Anchorage forward, whoever was down there, shot it all the way around. I think Vitallins is pleading that case as well. We'll get to see it here on the replay, but it looked to me like it was an Anchorage stick that sent it all the way
Anthony
around.
Noreen is requesting that the officials discuss this. Miami's got really tired bodies out there. Yeah, so you can see on a replay it was cleared back by Anchorage, and
I believe it was McNarland that did that, or it was McNarland or Shackley down low.
And so, yeah, the RedHawks will have to keep some tired guys out there. A lot of guys keeled over at the waist during that whistle, and Anthony Noreen is not very happy. He's got to keep them out there.
That's not, I mean, that's not a good call.
Yeah, he's going to elect not to use his timeout here. And Anchorage will win the draw, and Gunnar Von Dam just barely holds the zone. That never got past the blue line paint. He'll rip it back in, and behind the Miami cage, Hampus Ryquist will tap it along the near side. Von Dam on the pinch will shove it back in deep. Ryquist collided with hard by Shackley. Both guys go down. Shackley gathers his footing first and will hand it on back behind the net for Cabreau. Now back behind the cage, it's Vitallins that's pushing it forward for Miami after the steal, and the puck is just jammed along the wall right now. Finally pulled to the middle of the ice, and Dukovac will skate it past center and bounce it in. This will not go for icing as Miami got it across the center end before the clearing effort, and they can get new bodies on the ice. Just under 2.5 gone by third period. It's 4-0 RedHawks. Dump in attempt is secured by Bruno Braveris behind the Miami cage, and he rolls it along the glass on the near side and back out to center ice. From there down the far wing, it is Anchorage on a partial dump in from Will Shemek. Miami will pull that down, and Ryan Sullivan's attempt to lift it off the glass got blocked and blasted back in deep. Far corner of the defensive zone for the RedHawks. Feenstra passes it up the wall for Cardroiello, but he couldn't clear it out, and now a shot from the left side by Johnson is saved with the left pad by Braveris. Rebound was out for a moment, but pushed back in deep. Anchorage still with it, reversing ice to the left point, and now a pass to the near side got tipped by Contreras. Tried to direct that in the general direction of the net. Instead, it's into the protective netting. 16:51 to go third period. Both teams go for changes, with Miami holding on to a 4-0 lead.
Yeah, good that there was a stoppage there. Caragiuelo was kind of caught out there. He was playing with Ryan Sullivan and Casper Nassen. So now that Coach Noreen can get his first line back out there and give the guys a little stoppage after what was a unfavorable call. Luckily, nothing came of it either.
Certainly. Jared White will come in to take the draw after Tanner Edwards got booted for Anchorage, and Miami wins the defensive zone faceoff. Collisions all over the place, and Matt Chapani's going to get called. There were a couple of physical battles along each wing off that faceoff, and Matt Chapani just chopped down Tanner Edwards, who had just gotten kicked out of the draw. And Chapani will be called for tripping, a minor penalty to sit him for the next 2 minutes with 16:48 to go in the third period. And Anchorage will take their third power play. Anchorage 0 for 2. They win the draw, and down the far wall, a pass is broken up by Fillion. He finds Sullivan, who juggles it out of the air for a moment, skating it out to neutral ice, and now guiding it in.
Christoph Fillion has been a super important part of this penalty kill. I mean, you get him for his leadership and his, understanding of the game, but his defense has been fantastic through these first 4 games.
Won a national title a couple years ago with the Quinnipiac Bobcats.
One of 2 national champions on this Miami roster.
Yep.
Ryan Sullivan the other.
He won it with UMass a couple seasons prior. Atchison's feed to the far side. Johnson with a one-timer now. A tuck attempt on the near post was broken up as Merritt tried it. And it's back to the near wall. Additionally, Colby Ambrosio out of Boston College played on a Frozen 4 team last year.
That BC team was stacked with talent.
They were good.
Tons of NHLers coming out of there.
Under a minute to play left on the power play for Anchorage, and Atchison from center point whistles a wrister wide. Seawolves still with it, and they'll twist it back in deep to the Miami end, where Merritt wraps it to the near side. Helgeson moseying down behind the net, behind the back feet, bottom of the right circle, and couldn't get a clean shot away. It was Weston that was trying to pull the trigger and just couldn't. Puck still on the Anchorage sticks on the far side. It's Johnson. Backhand sauce up for Helgeson, and now Atchison center point. Atchison throws it into the pile in front of the net. It's blocked. RedHawks will pull it out and clear with 20 seconds left to go in the penalty to Matt Chapani. 15:03 to go, third period. It's Miami 4 and Anchorage nothing. And the Seawolves regrouping it back now. Heading up the left side, Contreras' backhand dump-in attempt got blocked down. Miami will try to chop it back out to the neutral. And I think there, as the penalty expired, Chapani came out of the box. He had 2 feet on the ice when he played that puck. He was very close to heading right back into the penalty box for delay of game. Instead, it's just a hand pass to move Miami back into their own zone.
Yeah, Vitalins was on all fours. I think he just kind of grabbed the puck and threw it up in Chapani's direction. Ended up going right to his stick, so great play theoretically, but it's going to be a hand pass considering where Chapani was on the ice.
RedHawks will clear it off the face-off, and Anchorage will send a tipped puck back in. Nope, the tip was missed by Shackley on the near side, and Anchorage ices it with 14:36 to go in the third period. Miami with about 2/3 the shots of Anchorage, 21-13, the advantage there for the Seawolves, but it's 4-0 RedHawks, and top line back out there, Waldron, Ambrosio, Chapani, the unit on the ice for the RedHawks for this offensive zone draw on the left wing. Over to the far side of the ice, Anchorage will outlet and going to make his way down the left side. It was McNarland. He will push it in deep to the Miami zone, and a ripped pass out in front got intercepted by Chapani. RedHawks will take it the other way. Waldron with speed down the left wing side, enters the zone, backhands one in front, and that got kicked away from Ambrosio as Warner was back defensively for Anchorage, and he's now wrapping it around his own cage, but a steal away there. Chapani in front, couldn't get the return feed from John Waldron. Now Waldron throwing it back towards him in the left circle, and again it got kicked away. But this Miami top line getting their feet wet a little bit with some forecheck, generating a couple of scoring chances. RedHawks have it back in their own zone now as puck's on the stick of Connor Hutchison, and he'll backhand it a couple feet forward for Colby Ambrosio, crossing the red and firing it in as waiting on him. Gunnar Von Dam was ready to ring his bell if he held on to that puck. Anchorage will flip the puck into space along the near side just past the center red, and Simonovic arrives first for Miami, dragging it through traffic. A stick is snapped. And a penalty coming up here. It'll be on Anchorage, and Edwards is furious and does not look like, though, he'll be the one to go to the box. Yeah, it was actually...
I thought it was going to be a slash on Simonovic, but it looks like Anderson's stick broke on a cross-check, I think they're calling it.
And I think that our referee, Andrew Wilk, just gave a misconduct as well.
Oh, they did, yeah.
So Anderson got the penalty. Yeah, Simonovic was skating with the puck, and he kind of threaded between two Anchorage players, and Anderson's stick kind of went crossways between both Seawolves, and Simonovic with the big body and the strength just skated right through it.
I don't know
The
if I like
stick
that call.
broke. And yeah, it didn't really look like there was much of a slashing effort by the Seawolves as much as the stick was just kind of in the way of Simonovic, who just skated right through it, and truthfully, it didn't really break up his stride much at all.
No.
Didn't really resist him. And I'm not sure what the call is going to be here. It actually looks like I originally called it misconduct. Instead, it'll be a 2-minute minor for unsportsmanlike conduct on Anderson. So that means he will sit for 4 minutes, and Miami's got a double minor power play coming up with 13:30 to go in the third. So the RedHawks will be on the man advantage for the next 4 minutes, barring a goal. And the RedHawks do win the draw, and we'll have the second unit out there to start this power play. Quinn to the far side for Raymond's Vitalins, into the corner for Max Dukovac. Back up Vitalins on the right wing, finds Kasper Nasson, sitting in the Ovechkin office in the left circle. Plays it back down low in the corner for Ryan Sullivan. Handling and giving back for Nasson along the left wall. And now it's Quinn, barely holding the tightrope along the blue line, finding Nasson in the left circle. And he will pull that one away from some very aggressive penalty killing by a couple of Anchorage defenders, and the RedHawks will keep possession. Twisted to the far side, it's Vitalin skating it below the goal line and finding Max Dukovac. He'll bank it up the near wall for Kasper Nasson, who lost it and can't hold the zone. Miami, despite some good puck movement, will have to regroup this back out to center. Puck is banked to the near side now. Nasson down the left wing. Partially hits the brakes and will back into the corner, feeding back up top for Quinn. Walking the line, Quinn back down for Nasson, looking for the one-timer. It's picked off and headed the other way. Shackley's got a one-on-one. Seam down the left side. Shackley driving. He is defended perfectly by Quinn. And now the RedHawks will get it up the ice quickly, and Ambrosio with a seam. Colby Ambrosio feeding it back for Vitalins. Puck got poked away from him, but now Filion down the left side, or the right side rather, and it's fed through traffic by Ambrosio looking for Dukovac on the back door. That got broken up. Quick back and forth sequence, and a minute 25 gone by on the power play as the RedHawks have the top unit on, and they'll take it back up the ice. It's Filion down the left wing into the Anchorage end, leaves it for Hutchison, and now Filion has it back in the left corner. Filion will backhand it up for Shupani, who will twist it up for Hutchison left point. He holds the zone, and now Shupani catches a one-time pass in the left circle. Shupani backing it up, top of the left circle, feeding back up top for Hutchison. Spin around pass for Ambrosio on the far side. Tap pass to the bumper, didn't find Waldron cleanly, and now the pass by Hutchison and a sliding stop made. RedHawks will keep it alive for a second as the zone was held with the hand of Hutchison, but the RedHawks touch up for a hand pass, and that will bring them back out of the zone. Anchorage 2 seconds away from killing the first half of this double minor penalty.
Really back and forth, like you said, Luke. Wouldn't have it any other way, but man, it's chance after chance, and that's, I mean, what a play by Michael Quinn. I mean, fantastic defense on a guy who's much larger than he is, both height-wise and weight-wise, and I mean, you can't ask for a better defensive play after turnover in the offensive zone.
RedHawks win the faceoff, and now into the second half of the double minor. It's Ambrosio with a short seam pass for Shupani, and now Filion back to Shupani down the left wing, banking it back up top for Hutchison, finding Ambrosio right circle, dragging and shooting. It's high into the glass. Filion holds it, though, along the left wing, and will feed it across for Ambrosio. Top of the right circle, he finds Hutchison up top, faking the slap shot and giving Shupani in the left circle. He'll back it up to the point, and now stop and head back down towards the corner. Giving for John Waldron there. Waldron skating it back up near the point. We'll sauce it up for Hutchison. And now Shupani handing off for Waldron. Top of the left circle up top. Hutchison. Shupani tapping for Waldron. He'll slide it down low for Shupani once again. Now fed to the far side. And Filion did not get that pass. It was broken up before it reached him. Anchorage playing with it a little bit below their own goal line. And they'll backhand it up the near side and down the ice with a minute and 3 seconds left to go on this power play. Miami's whipping the puck around right now, but Anchorage isn't really coming out of their shape.
A lot of good passing, and honestly, I was kind of expecting Machupani to try and rip one from the left side here, but he just decided to give it up that way. And, just offside. Nothing, no call there. I thought there might be something, but.
Dukovac got tangled up with Connor Merritt went down to the ice, and his feet entered the zone before the puck did, and then he touched up, so kind of a self-offsides there. And that will bring us to a stoppage with 45 seconds left in the penalty. 10:14 to go, third period. It's 4-0 RedHawks and a neutral ice draw for the second power play unit for Miami. And now a turnover, and Merritt's got a breakaway going the other way. Threading between the defense, Merritt passing to the far side. Backhanded shot is wide of the net by Helgeson, and now a 2-on-1 the other way for Miami. It's Nasson with Dukovac, and now trailers. Sullivan from the left side fires wide. Nasson still with it below the goal line, and now it's taken away and fired down. That turned into a 4-on-2 for Miami. They were just in a mushroom around the net. Ended up being Sullivan that took the shot, and a pretty good one, but wide of the cage.
Considering all their passing, I'm shocked that that was probably the best chance of this double minor. So we get a stoppage here.
Clearing attempt by Anchorage came up and hit a RedHawk who was changing, leaned over the bench. And so we will get a neutral ice draw with 8 seconds left in the penalty.
Yeah, considering how good the puck movement was, especially from that first unit, a little shocking that the kind of broken 2-on-1 turns into 4-on-2 was their best chance at a shot. Ryan Sullivan just missed the net. It's his second good chance of the night. He hit that post earlier in the game, but nonetheless, some really good, some positives out of this power play. It's going to end without a goal, but no conversion.
So the RedHawks now 1 for 5. They get it into the Anchorage end, but Anderson is out of the box and will skate it back to the Anchorage bench as Miami pulls the puck back to their defense. Moulton's pass up ahead, and no icing. Messenberg got dumped as he was trying to tip that puck. Icing got waved, but nothing called for Anchorage on the bump on Messenberg. And so the Seawolves will send it up the left side where Contreras has a give and go to himself and then dumps it in. Around the near side for the RedHawks, it's Shapani at center ice. His feed through center got broken up looking for Ambrosio. Puck popped up in the air, and now Contreras hauled down by Reichquist. That'll be a penalty. Miami was protesting and didn't touch up the puck. Oh, goodness. Anchorage keeps it alive. And that is just really not a good look there, as now Miami will bump the Seawolves off the puck and touch it. But two RedHawks there could have touched the puck and started arguing with the official instead of touching it to end play. And fortunately for Miami, they're not punished for it. And that will bring us to a timeout. Miami back to the kill. They've been perfect tonight. They've been very good throughout the season. Looking to ride this one out this weekend, hoping for the sweep with 8:37 to go. Final period. It's RedHawks 4 and Seawolves nothing. Back after the break, you're listening to Miami Hockey on RedHawk Radio. .8:37 to go, third period. Miami to the kill. They lead it 4-0 over Anchorage. Looking for the sweep this weekend and a face-off win for Anchorage to begin the power play. Miami almost cleared as they swept it out. Now the RedHawks will sauce it down, and Fillion has a one-on-one. Dangling his way through. Fillion on the backhand. It goes just wide. Oh, my goodness. Christoph Fillion nearly with the goal of the year in this early part of the season for Miami, shorthanded. But now Anchorage has it back into the RedHawk end. Seawolves are 0 for 3 in the power play tonight. Puck comes skittering out of the corner right out front. Dempsey has plenty of time to fire it down.
We talked about Christoph Filion being a really important part of this team, this penalty kill, his defense, but don't sleep on his offense. Apparently, he's got some hands. Scored a career high in goals last year as well, so he's coming off a really strong season. Shocked that wasn't a penalty.
Dukovac tugged down Helgeson, but Dukovac pulled it out of the pile and cleared it, and Miami will instead kill more time off this power play. Under a minute left now, the minor penalty to Hampus Ryquist. 2 minutes for tripping, and with 7.5 to play, Anchorage will dump it back into the Miami end. Simonovic lays a huge hit on Weston, who dumped it there, and Miami again will win the puck battle below their own goal line and fire it out. Kritsov will try to stretch the ice for the Seawolves, but that effort did not work out as Johnson didn't hold the pass cleanly, and Miami will push it back. Again, Anchorage has got their backup goalie Tyler Kritsov in net for his first career appearance after they pulled Gregor Rose. Rose responsible for 3 of the goals. Kritsov pretty much right after he got put into the game, got scored on, but has been sharp since. RedHawks clear it back out, again gaining possession pretty much instantly after Anchorage gets it into their zone. 8 seconds remaining on the minor to Ryquist, and Contreras skating it down the left side will dump it back in for the Seawolves. Feenstra pushing Johnson into the near wall in a 2-on-2 puck battle in the near corner of the Miami defensive zone as Ryquist is out of the box and joining the play. He will make his way below the goal line and be the first man to touch the puck after it pops free from the puck battle. Ryquist blows a tire and a pass out in front by the RedHawks. The Seawolves score.
That's a bad play.
RedHawks just threw a blind pass in front of their own net, and Cabreau was waiting and just blasted that thing over the left pad of Bruno Braveris. And with 6:21 to go in the third period, there goes the shutout for Miami's goaltender. It's 4-1.
Yeah, and you just can't have that happen. You understand the play that I believe it was Matt Chupani in the corner is trying to make, but line passes to the middle rarely work, and there's an example of it being a turnover and costing them dearly.
Dimitri Cabreau with his second goal of the year, and that cuts it to a 3-goal hockey game with just over 6 minutes left to play. Anchorage dumps it back in, and Miami breaks it out. Seawolves will now put it back into the Miami end, where Christoph Filion tips the dump in back out to neutral ice. Down the left side now, Jared White will throw this on for the Seawolves, and simple save for Braveris, who will hold it with 5:58 to go in the third period, and that will bring us to our final timeout. Anchorage not going away, beneficiaries of a blind pass. Dimitri Cabreau with the goal, and they have made it a 3-goal hockey game. Just under 6 minutes to play. It's 4-1 RedHawks here from Cady Arena on Saturday night. You're listening to Miami Hockey on Red Hawk Radio. With 5:58 to go in the third period, Anchorage has scored to make it a 4-1 Miami lead. Alongside Jeff Middleton, Luke West Poley with you. RedHawks looking to ride this one out, but blind pass in front of their net just moments ago, and Dimitri Cabreau beats the RedHawks to the front of the net and took the one-time feed from Miami and put it past Bruno Braveris for his second goal of the year. It's now a 3-goal game. Puck in the Miami end following the face-off, and along the near wall, it's popped up in the air by Edwards. Moulton will settle it down for the RedHawks in the far corner, and they'll try to clear, but it's up into the bench. And we get a stoppage with 5:37 to go in the third. Face-off will back up into Miami's defensive zone. It'll be on the far side.
And it's unfortunate for Bruno Braveras because he's had a stellar game, 22 saves on 23 shots, but also because that goal shouldn't happen. That goal is a mistake, and sure, Chupani knows that, and that's, I mean, you have to limit those mistakes, especially when you start to play really, really good teams like Denver, North Dakota, other conference teams that Miami will see later this year. But it's also going to put a kind of a damper on what was a really good outing overall from this team. I mean, 4-0 and 4-1 doesn't look all that different, but here's Dukovac.
Skating it down the right side into the Anchorage zone. Dukovac tried to give it across for Rehnquist, but that got taken away, and now an on-man rush developing down the left side. It's played out in front by Contreras, but Dukovac with the poke to break that pass up in its tracks, and the RedHawks will clear it back out to center along the far side. Roped back in by Funtek, near corner dump. Simonovic pulls it behind the Miami net and will dodge on by Contreras to the far side. Simonovic still with it, just muscling it ahead, and now spinning it back out to center, where Anchorage will push it back into the RedHawks zone. Under 5 minutes to play, third period. RedHawks lead it 4-1 here on Saturday night. Looking for the sweep. Try and stay unbeaten here through 4 games after a couple of ties last weekend against Ferris State. Huge hit delivered there on Merritt, who tipped that puck into the Miami zone, and he got run over as Caragiello now has it on the far side and flips it all the way across the ice for Chupani. Couldn't knock it out of the air, and it'll flutter down for icing with 4:34 to go in the third.
I think one of the things that, you know, home opening weekend, you're seeing a lot of things for the first time in person, how this team plays, how the lines match up and all that stuff. But man, these RedHawks have stretched the ice over these last couple of games. Right there, great play, cross ice, trying to find Matt Chupani streaking down the wing, but just a fun brand of hockey that they're trying to play. You talked about it a little bit earlier, Luke, but just quickly developing offense and lots of stretching the ice, lots of big kind of passes across the ice or up going north to south.
RedHawks with a steal, and they'll poke it forward on the defensive blue line all the way into the Anchorage end, but Von Damme is back to it first, and will play it back through neutral ice. Ambrosio, though, now with speed and the puck down the left side. Ambrosio will one-hand it out in front, looking for Chupani, and it was behind him. Puck ends up back on the right point, where Hutchison got his pocket picked, swirling around with it. Helgeson plays it across the ice. Feed too far in front of Merritt, and Feenstra back to receive it for Miami. Chips it past Ambrosio, but not out of the RedHawks zone, as now Ambrosio will secure puck possession and play it for Chupani on the far side, banking it near wing for Waldron. He got hammered by Warner, tried to cut back on him, and Warner squared him up. Chipped back into the Miami zone by Matt Johnson. He's pinned along the wall by Hutchison. Johnson and Johnson again play catching up to the top of the left point. A slap shot in, save made by Braveras on Will Shemek, and he directs it with a slap of his stick into the near corner. Ryan Johnson now has it for Anchorage. Working up the near wall, his stick lifted, and Caragiello will flip it on past him as Gukler races down to it in his own corner and leaves it off. Puck played up ahead for McNarland for Anchorage, trying to tuck it through the middle of the ice, and he got rocked by Messenberg. Anchorage still with it, though, recovering. Gukler will look up the near side and throw that way as McNarland tips it into the Miami end. 3:01 remaining, third period. RedHawks lead it by a 4-1 score. Potential 2-on-2 developing up the ice as Messenberg couldn't chip it between the legs of Von Damme, who recovered it back defensively. Now it's Johnson entering the zone on the right side, wrists one in, and a save made with the trapper of Braveras. He will hold on to it with 2:49 to go in the third period. Miami now being outshot 25-14, oddly enough, but they lead it 4-1.
Yeah, and, you know, shots on goal is, I mean, we've talked about this plenty of times before, Luke. It's not exactly the most representative of the pace of play or how the play is tilted for between one team or another. I mean, Miami's, I guess they just downgraded to 13 shots. But those 13 shots have been really good, like really high quality. There's also a crossbar and a post in there. So, I mean, it is not really representative of what's happened tonight.
RedHawks get it out of the zone, 2-on-1 here for Nasson, and he sauces it forward looking for Filion down the right side, but he overlet him, and the puck ends up along the end wall. Nasson gets crunched by Von Damme. Redhawks flip it back in, though, and Fillion has plenty of space, so we'll bank it up the far wall for Ryquist there. Saucing one in off the side of the net, and now Nassen tried to pick it up, or rather that was Fillion behind the net, Michigan style, but couldn't get it up on the tape. Up along the near wall, it's Jared White skating it out for Anchorage, and now gaining the Miami zone on the right wing. He dances past Dempsey, but loses possession of the puck in the process. Puck takes an awkward bounce off the dasher, and that allows Anchorage to hold the zone as Warner flips one on, and Braveris will gobble it up and make the save. With 2:02 to go in the third period, puck frozen. Miami still leading at 4-1. See how aggressive Matt Shasby is here. Down 3 goals on the road if he wants to maybe pull his goalie, but looks like he's going to keep Kritsov in the net for now, unless his team could maybe pull within 2 in a pretty short amount of time.
You ever seen a Miami player try a lacrosse move?
No.
I haven't either. That's a new one for me.
Redhawks do get it out of the zone quickly following the faceoff. To be entirely frank, I don't know if Miami had many chances to really do it since that has been a thing. I know
That's
Mike
true.
Legg did it a long time ago, but really since that's been a trend, I don't think the Redhawks have had a ton of chances to pull one off in game. William Aline skated it into the Anchorage end, playing some 1-on-3. Puck was taken off his stick and cleared back out to center, and Miami will put it back into the Anchorage end with 90 seconds remaining in the third period. Wrapping around the near side, Messenberg steals it away for the Redhawks. Cargioello along the near wall will bounce it in for Tanyan Baser. He leaves it behind the net now for Messenberg, who plays it up the far wall. Hutchison dragging and shooting. That's blocked by Merritt with the skate. And now Messenberg will shovel it in behind for Baser. Out in front, Cargioello swung and missed. That shot from the left seam of the slot. And Anchorage will grab it and clear it down. Puck rolling on edge. It will be short of icing. And recovered by Hutchison, who flips forward for Baser. Tipped it just above the glass. It hits the netting. With 59.2 seconds remaining in the third period, that tip just past the center red by Baser means, I believe, this will be a center ice faceoff. Miami leads it 4-1, putting the finishing touches on a weekend sweep.
Yeah, and overall, I mean, it's hard to say that they didn't deserve it. I mean, you look at the shots, we talked about that a little bit, but that doesn't represent the kind of quality that this team has generated over this past weekend, and even over these first 4 games. Lots of shots and lots of quality. As here's Ambrosio.
Dancing out in front, it was Shapani on the end of it after Ambrosio had taken off his stick, but he couldn't get the end of that shot away as the stick got lifted. 37 seconds remaining here in the third period. Miami's top line out there and still working awfully hard here. Maybe looking for another goal late in this game. 30 seconds to go. Simonovic with a 2-hand chop. Look out, coach, on the bench. Came up near the head of Troy Thibodeau.
Try and get Matt Chupani his hat-trick goal. Would be a nice little finishing touch to this game. Not sure if it's going to happen with only 28.7 seconds remaining, but you can see that first line's definitely trying to get that done.
Definitely would be. Last hat trick was by Johnny Waldron.
Yeah.
And that, we were talking about a little bit, Jeff, off air, is probably the last win here at Cady Arena that felt as dominant as this one did here tonight. There was never really a point in this game where it felt like the Redhawks were in danger of dropping this one. 28 seconds remaining, and Miami wins the faceoff at neutral ice. End over end chip from Simonovic. Shemek will settle it down, and Funtic will grab it just short of his own goal line and play it up the near wing. Simonovic's backing up on it. D-to-D for Hippus Ryquist, who will gain the center red and fire it back in with 12 seconds to go. Redhawks fist bumps on the bench as now we get a little bit of extracurricular stuff, but time is running out, and that's it. Miami sweeps Alaska Anchorage here at home on opening weekend. The Redhawks take the Saturday game of the 2-game set, 4-1 here in Game 2. And Jeff, yesterday a win that, as Anthony Noreen put it, you just have to find a way. Those will happen. But today, Redhawks didn't really have to find a way as much as they just played their game for a full 60, and it really felt dominant throughout the night.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think that yesterday it was a lot of back and forth. Saw a lot more spurts from Anchorage in terms of puck possession and in-zone offensive possession. But tonight it really felt like Miami controlled the play. Only 15 shots, but I mean, you'll take the kind of puck possession that they had any day of the week, and you can tell the skill players kind of got their groove in, and the penalty killing special teams once again was good. Penalty killing especially, 5-minute major, killed off completely, and that's what you need. I mean, those kind of things give you momentum, and these RedHawks took advantage of that momentum. Lots of skill kind of showed off tonight. Colby Ambrosio, Matt Chupani, Johnny Waldron all had a heck of a night, heck of a weekend for that line. But, I mean, that's exactly what you're looking for to start the season off, just to build off from.
Free tacos for the Cady Arena crowd
that?
for the second straight night. It's the first sweep in a calendar year for Miami.
Oh, wow.
Their last win of back-to-back games in a weekend was this time last year when they swept the Golden Griffins of Canisius here on home ice. Team will salute the crowd. Great effort here on Saturday from the Miami RedHawks, and that bench looked really fired up.
Yep.
Anthony Noreen talked in his post-game presser yesterday about his emphasis on celebrating all the small wins that this team has, all the good things that they were doing. They did a lot of them here tonight and came away with a deserved 4-1 win. We'll toss it off to postgame in just a second, but again, a reminder, next time we're on the air, it'll be a special edition of Miami Hockey on Red Hawk Radio. We'll be coming at you on Thursday night. RedHawks will be back here. It's a Thursday-Saturday weekend series, a home and home against the Colonials of Robert Morris. Great to see, by the way, that program back up to the Division I level after a couple years of hiatus. The Colonials are back, and they will meet up with Miami next weekend. Game 2's in Moon Township on Saturday at 7 o'clock, and Game 1 is here in Oxford. Thursday night hockey from Cady Arena, 7:05 puck drop. Jeff and I will be with you with pregame at 6:35 on Thursday. We hope to see you then. This was a very successful opening weekend for the Miami RedHawks hockey team here at Cady Arena, and hoping that can continue headed into next week. That'll wrap it up for us on the weekend. Post-game coming up with Aiden Stones on the other side of the break from my partner Jeff Middleton and the rest of our Red Hawk Radio crew. I'm Luke West Poley saying so long, and thanks so much for tuning in from Steve Cady Arena. Again, final score tonight is Miami 4 and Anchorage 1 to complete the sweep. Thanks for tuning in to this presentation of Miami Hockey on Red Hawk Radio. The post-game show is coming up next.
Welcome back to the post-game report for this game, Miami RedHawks 4, Alaska Anchorage 1. This third period was very unusual for the RedHawks. They had Alaska scoring 1 goal, and the RedHawks scored none. Shots on goal, Alaska with 8, Miami with 3. But if you look at shots, we have 14 going in Alaska's favor compared to the RedHawks 7. Although Bruno Braveras did allow 1 goal to prevent the shutout, it wasn't entirely his fault. Behind the back pass from Chupani did not go in his favor, as Dimitri Kibru did have a one-time slap shot that hit the lower right corner. In terms of face-offs, Miami did rebound from that category because they suffered from it last period. 12-8 in favor of the RedHawks for that category. Overall, this period was a lot less scoring than we're used to from the RedHawks these last few games. The penalty kill is still alive, however. In 2 attempts, the Seawolves are 0 for 2. Granted, Miami is also 0 for 3 on their power play in this period. Looking around the league one last time. Looking at all conferences first. Stonehill at number 18 Northeastern, 5-1 in Northeastern's favor towards the end of the third. In the middle of the third, St. Thomas in Minnesota against Vermont. St. Thomas is winning 2-1. Also closing out the game, 13 seed Providence at number 6 North Dakota. North Dakota is winning 4-2. At the end of the second, number 10 Michigan is against Arizona State and is 1-1. Number 17 Western Michigan at Ferris State. It's the end of the game, and Western Michigan won 5-1. The last game that's still going on, we have Northern Michigan at number 12 Colorado College. Halfway through the second, Colorado College is winning 2-1. There's a lot of final scores in the NCAA D1 men's ice hockey, but let's cover the NCHC side of the things. We only have 2 games. We already covered the UMass Lowell game, 4-1. St. Cloud State, the 16 seed, beats Bemidji State 3-2. We will take a short break, and then we'll come back with the post-game report. Diving in one last time for the third period. In the third period, Miami did not capitalize on the double minor by Ben Anderson. A little disappointing, but it's safe to say a 4-1 win is a 4-1 win, and we can take a win against Alaska Anchorage. Anchorage did, however, seem more alive. More penalties were called on the RedHawks in the third. It is worth noting, Christoph Filion almost made the goal of the year on the penalty kill. It was a breakoff 1v1 against one of the defensemen, and he passed behind the defenseman to himself to line up the pass, but it did not happen. Going on to the stats in the game in general, goals, again, Miami 4-1 win over Alaska Anchorage. Assists, even though we had some goals go with 0 assists, Miami still pulled away with 6 assists. Shots on goal is one of the categories that Alaska does strong, 26-15. One power play goal was scored by the RedHawks. And for power plays, Miami was 1 for 5 compared to Alaska Anchorage's 0 for 4. Unlike last game, penalties were in favor of the RedHawks, as they have committed less penalties than the Seawolves. The Seawolves committed 5 to Miami's 4. Miami also came back with the faceoffs won. They won more faceoffs than their opponent, 28 to 26. In the pregame show, I called out some players that you should watch out for. Let's see how they did. First off, Johnny Waldron. Number 17, Johnny Waldron had 2 assists for 2 points. Those 2 assists and 2 points had 14 face-off wins as well compared to 7 face-off losses. He had no shots on goal but did have 2 shots to his name today. The second person I said to look out for, Bruno Bravares. Again, not his fault he did not get the shutout today, but a 25 saves out of 26 for a save percentage of .962 is spectacular. Earlier today, I questioned, is Bruno for real or was yesterday a fluke? And it seems that it was definitely not a fluke. Bruno is our starting goaltender from now on. Finally, a little disappointing of a game from Connor Hutchison. He had 0 goals, 0 assists, and 0 points. Hutchison also had 0 shots today, but has a plus-minus of +1. That about wraps up the post-game report. Miami does play again next Thursday against Robert Morris at 7:05, and then again at Robert Morris on Saturday at 7 o'clock in Moon Township, Pennsylvania. Again, I am your host, Aiden Soanes. That wraps up the post-game report. Hope you all have a good night, and go RedHawks.